me start streaming, guys. So once again, guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be doing a review of Cliff and Stuart debating Muslims. I heard it went well for Cliff and Stuart, to be honest with you. So we're going to be reviewing that, and we already got some Muslims in the comments saying GG's, it's a long day for you, whatever. You know what the good thing is about life, and this is something that Muslims can't seem to get their head around, is it doesn't matter what you guys think, bro. Like, honestly, this is something I want to address because I keep getting this in all my comments. I get this in all my videos. You guys always say this. This is what you guys say. Well, it really doesn't matter what the reality is because you got baked in the moment. It doesn't matter, guys, bro, you guys need to grow up, dude. It doesn't matter. Like, sure, it's funny in the moment who gets baked, but it's not the full picture of what the truth is, right? So if you guys are just like little kids just looking for a dopamine hit and you're like, oh shit, you got baked, okay. But if you're actually worried about going to hell or not, I would suggest that you calm yourself down and ask yourself some some objective questions, okay? And be like, all right, maybe it looked like we did good there, but maybe I should fact check that, or maybe I should inquire from the other side. Just putting that out there. And so that's why I like doing these videos, because we get to slow down and we get to ask some serious questions. Okay, so we're going to be doing that today. So shout out to me. Shout out to all you muzzies in the comment sections already crying. We didn't even get the show started yet. Yes, I'm saying that to the Muslims, Danny. For sure, to the Muslims. So let me just let a couple people up here in the meantime, in between time, while we chit chat. Why isn't this?
Yo, what's going on?
What up, man?
I just got one question, and then I'll drop down.
Oh my God.
Given your background and how long you've been doing these videos, I'm still confused on why you're still agnostic. Why haven't you picked a religion?
So, okay, that sounds like a fair question. So basically for me, I'm not agnostic because of any sort of lack of evidence or anything like that. For me, it's just I genuinely, and I really want everybody to get this, I don't care, guys. I really don't care. Like, I want you to understand, like, obviously there's levels. Maybe I could care if something crazy happened. But at this level of involvement, I don't know how to say it. How can I say this? I'm gonna sound like a super diva right now, but I'm a little I'm gonna sound like such a little diva sis right now. But okay, look. I think God is being a little indifferent towards us, and so I'm sitting here like, okay, bro, if you want to be indifferent, I'm gonna be indifferent, and then we could both figure it out later. That's kind of where I'm at, to be completely honest with you. I've already said it a million times. There's stuff in the Bible that I can't explain, like I always tell people, Daniel's prophecy, for example, for me, whoever hasn't studied Daniel's prophecies, all of them, Daniel 2, Daniel 7, Daniel 9, I don't know what other Daniels there are. You need to go look into them, and you need to learn them from somebody who knows. When I learned Daniel's prophecies for the first time, I couldn't speak for a week. Okay? Since then, the effect of it has kind of died down, and I've kind of like accepted it as normal and as part of reality at this point. But I still can't explain them. I still don't know how in the freak Daniel knew the things that would occur in the future. And if anybody else wants to explain it to me, feel totally free. from a skeptical point of view, I mean, I don't know how Daniel knew that Babylon would get taken over by Media Persia and then Greece and then Rome. I don't know how he knew that. Okay? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then it talks about even the directions that the goat was going to come from the west, and then another thing was going to happen from the east, and that's literally how it happened. I don't know that. I have no clue, guys, okay? The way I go to sleep at night is I tell myself it's a Jewish conspiracy. I swear to God, bro. Wallahi, that's what I tell myself. I'm like, you know what? This had to be some sort of Jewish conspiracy that I just haven't figured out or uncovered yet. That's how I make myself feel better as an agnostic, okay? But the reality is I don't know. I haven't disproven it, okay? So I'm there with that. I also don't know how Daniel 9, right, exactly, Jamal. Daniel 9 is another one. How in the hell did they know the Messiah was going to come, get unalived after a specific amount of time after the first temple, or yeah, after the rebuilding of the temple? How did they know that? And then it was going to be before the destruction of the second temple. How did they know? So either the Jews, like, and this is the thing, with the amount of conspiracies that are going around about the Jews, I can't completely say that they didn't orchestrate this whole thing. Wallahi, that's where I'm at. Okay, literally the Jews could have wrote it and then made it happen. As crazy as that sounds, that's literally how I lie to myself, and I feel like it's a lie, but I'm not 100% sure. So there's that, okay? And then the second level of it is I genuinely just don't care, bro. You guys don't understand. I keep trying to tell you guys this. I was a Christian, but when I say I was a Christian, I'm not talking about how you guys think of a Christian, about how you guys go to church on Sunday and then do whatever you want all week. That's not how I was. I was going to church literally Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Every single day for 6 to 10 hours a day. All right? That's where I was at. Now, was that my fault? Maybe I burned myself out? Probably. Okay? But I genuinely got to the point where I learned all the evidences. They gave me all the explanations, all the prophecies, all the history of it until I was fully convinced. But then that effect just wore out. It just wore off. I genuinely, I swear to God, I just didn't care at one point anymore. That's what happened. I just didn't care. I was like, okay, cool. God is real. The Bible is crazy, but I just don't care. Because I got overpowered by the fact that I wanted to go into the world. Okay, I wanted to go back into the world. I didn't want to be I didn't want to follow my dreams of anymore of becoming a leader in the church like I was on the trajectory of doing. I just didn't care. I did not care anymore. Okay, and then that's it. I got to the point where I made a decision. I said, okay, have you been able to disprove it? No. So is there the chance that you're accepting going to hell? And I was like, yep. And I was like, okay, I'm okay with that. I'll go to hell, because I was too young at the time to even be. I couldn't do it, dude. Couldn't do it. Maybe I'll become a Christian again if God lets me live till my 80s, and then when it's time for me to just chill out. But that's where it's at, guys. So I hope that answers your guys' questions. Everybody's Kimberly's making a crazy face. Alex says you need to find your niche. Praying for you, boo. Yeah, my thing is this though. I still consider myself as a part of the movement. I'm here for you guys. I'll be in the background. I'll be in the sidelines supporting Christianity till the day I die, probably. So consider me an ally. Hopefully I get some brownie points. What up, Jesus? Is there no stories of people in the Bible that were maybe just allies of the Christians and didn't necessarily become Christian? Maybe I'll get a special case for me. But all right, guys, what do you guys think? We got 30 people watching. I know Brett said she wanted to come up at some point. If Brett, if you're there, you can feel free to come up. I'm gonna pull up this video. Now, one thing I'm conflicted about a little bit is I could just watch the video.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, Brett? Are you in a bakery right now?
No, I'm in my living room.
You sound like you're inside your refrigerator. What is that loud noise?
Whenever I use these headphones, I guess it just amplifies the room, and there's the AC's going on.
Holy cow, that is really loud. All right, let me see. Anybody else that wants to? So I'm looking for guys, if you guys don't mind, because I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a bit of a. Well, I'm not sure because to be honest with you, Brett, did you get to watch any of it yet?
Hey, man.
No, I just saw that one Libiano clip, but that's all I saw. I didn't watch any of it.
Okay. So I watched like the first 15 minutes of it. It wasn't that bad. The opening statements were good, and Frito says, "Yo, I almost punched the shiz out of my monitor." On which part though? Which part pissed you off? Because like I said, I watched the opening statements and I watched like maybe 10 minutes into the cross exams. They weren't doing that bad in the beginning. Did they just end up getting baked later? What up, yo?
Yo, 1 second, man. Hold up. Look at me. Fucking dog.
Okay. Bro, what is wrong with these buzzies, bro? He said, 1 second look at me, didn't turn his camera on, spit on his own phone. Bro, go clean your phone, dude. What is wrong with you?
I think that's what Al-Zut said to Muhammad.
Literally.
Look at it and then spit.
He was like, look, I don't care.
But Grace, they were all behind him.
That's crazy. That soundboard got your ego on fire. CLB, listen to me, bro. I genuinely want you to know something. If you just heard what I said about my own journey with Christianity and my own God, where I'm sitting here telling my own God, bro, I don't care what you got going on, send me to hell. What makes you think I care about what you think, dude? Literally. And what makes you think that all of us don't think about these repercussions before we started doing this thing against you Muslims? We know this was going to happen. This is not a surprise. So enjoy yourself, piss yourself off. We could care less. Anyway, so what do you guys? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, one of the things I really wish they would have brought up, because one of the things that they were trying to attack the Bible on is this concept of like the for lack of a better term, they try to go with like change of authority, so it's not right. So they say that the Gospels are all like bad sources, etc. But if you actually go and read the Quran, they have the story from the infancy Gospel of Thomas, where Jesus is making clay birds, which was a writing that was done 100+ to 200 years after the Gospels.
Right.
One that is also accepted by anybody.
Right. And what's the issue there, you said?
Brother, oh, sorry.
So the point in that is they try to discredit something that was done around 60 to 90 BCE, but then their prophet claims a story that's done 200+ later that's not even accepted.
That's actually funny as hell. Right, that makes a lot of sense. Exactly. They're discrediting the stuff that comes from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd centuries, but they're taking something that comes even later, much later.
But you know what's funny? That gospel actually tries to show that Jesus is God, and that passage shows that he's a creator and he's God, blowing in the spirit of God into clay and bringing it with the whole nervous system, lung, the beating heart, and brain.
All of that. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to go that far with it, but I was just going to drop it at the fact that they're trying to use the time frame of the writings that are widely accepted, but then their Quran confirms one that's at a much later time period that's not.
Yeah. So let's
You
do
know what I
this,
just
guys.
realized?
Let's do this. Let's get our story straight before we, because another question I have is whose videos should I watch? Maybe Brett has more experience with. Whose video do you guys think I should watch? Should I watch their? Do they have a YouTube video of this? Is it on Sneako's channel? Whose channel is it on? Or should I just watch? I saw Nick's. He was watching it live, and I could just watch his version. What do you guys think?
I think Sneeko has the full version up from what I saw. It's just a replay of the full debate.
Okay. The reason I was considering watching Nick's is because Nick I know is good with all the Philo Trinity stuff, and he could just cover those bases, I'm sure, better than I could, or maybe anybody else here probably could. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Like to get an
Right.
extra commentary. Like
I
extra
really want to
visual.
hear the review on this debate because I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And I know in the end they did get the upper hand. They mentioned the Arufs, but I think that was
Who got the upper hand?
these guys were getting a little bit Orthodox Muslim. First of all, lied.
Okay.
He said there's 250,000 manuscripts for the Quran.
Claiming 250.
Dude, he lied so many times. He lied about I was
From
talking
the
about this
first
earlier.
century.
Like he lied about what Irenaeus said about Jesus. He was like, "Oh, Irenaeus said that Jesus was created and he was a second God." That is the exact opposite of what he said. He literally his views align with the Trinitarian views. He straight up lied.
Okay. So that's what I want to do is go into everything, look and see where they lied, where they exaggerated, where they brought up things that were like, even if they were true, they really kind of irrelevant, because I heard some of that in the beginning too. All right, so let's watch it from Nick's channel then. Let me bring it up. And guys, if you're in the comment section or if you're just watching, I would appreciate if we had any one Christian that was pretty good with church history. I would love that. Like, for example, how I depend a lot on asking ChatGPT or Grok or whatever. So, all right, let me bring this up.
Let up Zinjikufa.
He's always, he knows church history. Let me see.
Yeah, that's what he's claiming.
He's my #1 nemesis. He's a Christian, but he's always hating on me.
Oh, okay.
But he's cool, though. I mean, I don't mind it.
Whatever. If he's equipped with knowledge, that's all we need.
No, I'm just joking. I really don't care. It's funny to me, honestly. Come up, Zayan, if you know stuff. Come up. I'm trying to find you. It's not letting me send you an invite. I don't know.
But yeah, 200. He literally said 250,000 full total Quran manuscripts, letter to letter, from the first century.
Yeah. For sure. Hold on a second. Zian, are you gonna come up or what, bro? After he wakes up. Wait, I can't go. Sorry, my baby cousin's sleeping. Oh, okay, my bad. All right, let me just pull this video up 1 second, guys. What's up, Alex?
Ay, ¿qué onda?
Aquí, güey, ¿cómo estás? Oh, shoot, wait.
Estoy bien.
You're Argentinian, right, Alex?
Yeah.
Bro, W Argentina, bro.
Yeah, thank you, friend.
Shout out, K.
Oh my. Casi, nada, estaba llorando, boludo. No sé qué me pasó por este partido, te lo juro.
You were crying?
Yeah, I was crying, my friend. Like,
bro, I thought they were cooked.
Yeah, you know that scene of The Matrix when that man, the blonde man says, "Not this way, not like this." You know, I was like saying the same. No, not like this.
Please.
Yeah, like W to Egypt also, they did a very good job for the potential they have. But at the end, we have Messi.
They did pretty good, yeah. They definitely did good.
So what's up? What are you talking about, guys?
So yesterday, these guys on the screen here, these two white guys, Cliff and Stuart, they had a debate with some evil people. And everybody's saying, I didn't watch the whole thing yet, but everybody's saying that they suck, that they got taken advantage of, that they got bamboozled. So I want to do a quick review on this and just see what we can do with it.
Oh, nice. You're doing reacts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Does anybody know what the topics were? So I know they were talking about like I guess manuscript evidence at first. What else did they talk about?
They were talking about many things. I know they were talking about the verse that was about the how Jesus said he was the I am. Because I got in towards the end. Right before that, if I can remember.
Yeah.
Near the
Another
very
in
end,
John.
near the very end, they did bring up Aruf. I had to leave. I didn't see their response.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna laugh because they're never gonna respond to that correctly.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. There's no answer for that. Basically, it isn't weird. I'm assuming they did bad on Trinity. Is that probably it?
They said Jesus was 1/3 God. That was the only error.
I heard that part.
I think they were also discussing who was the only true God. I think that was it, but when I came in.
Who's the real true God?
Yeah, because I think they were taking the verse that says how the Father is the only true God, and then it says, and Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right, so let's watch it, I guess. Guys, can I come up on my alt because this isn't working? Yeah, Z, just tell me what your alt is.
Yo, you know one thing I noticed though, Scary?
What up?
The Muslims and the Christians on TikTok are much more equipped with knowledge and debating this topic than outside of TikTok.
Oh, for sure, bro. I wanted to say that yesterday when we were talking about this. Like, TikTok is where it's at. Like, the most important conversations are right now in this space are happening on TikTok. You guys agree with that? What do you guys think?
Bro, this is like a divine battlefield at this point.
Yeah, I think
It's because you get exposed to so many arguments and you get to talk about the same topic with so many people. So you get to hit it at so many different angles and then you just get used to what the rebuttals are going to be.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly, it's to the point now where like if you're not on the TikTok battlefield, bro, don't even waste your time trying to debate these people, bro. Please don't. Like, do what's all about.
That's where these two guys got cooked. Because they didn't know the arguments, right? They don't know.
That's the thing is that it's I know they know stuff, but the problem is that it's the word games that these people play. That's what you really have to be careful for.
Yeah, and I think they didn't expect to be lied to so professionally with a straight face.
That's the problem, dude. It's the level of audacity that the sheer amount of they're just charlatans. They have no shame. They have absolutely no shame, and that it is very jarring at first when you're not used to that. Because you thinking you're having a good faith dialogue. ZN, what happened to your thing, dude?
He said to kick him.
Looks like he just kicked himself.
Why you kick my dog?
Anyway, I'm gonna get it started and let's get it cracking. I think I'm a little into it already, so I'm gonna have to rewind it. But just give me a second.
That Jesus Christ actually, convinced me.
We weren't talking. No 3rd century manuscripts.
So to figure out scripts, one friend.
I like Stuart's.
Participated.
Stuart came out swinging out the gate.
About it.
Died.
Some even further because hundreds of years.
It's funny. I didn't even see Cora. I thought she was the chair for a second.
And we were born with that, and we did nothing to achieve it.
Yeah. So what does that have to do with whether or not we have the ability to do it or not?
It doesn't. But what I'm trying to say is, I just find it really disturbing and weird and sad.
All right, man. You can find it disturbing and weird and sad all you want, bro. Yo, real fast. I think we got Yo, y'all know Cliff Connect and Stuart? I think they're debating Orthodox Muslim and Korah right now.
That Jesus fulfills. And I'm excited to talk about that as well.
Wait, chat, y'all want to watch that real fast?
Why is Islam true? Well, Islam doesn't have those issues. Islam has perfect continuity with the Tanakh, perfect continuity with the Hebrew Bible, with the prophets. I'm going to use their evidence against them. Cliff always says in his
call. All right, TikTok. Hey, come to my YouTube. We're about to watch this. This is kind of crazy. Wait, come to my YouTube TikTok. Come to my YouTube TikTok. Link in bio, Fearless Truth. Come to my YouTube.
So you have good reason.
So guys, it looks like we're going to have a full panel right now, so that's all good. I just want to make sure if you feel like you're not super contributing and you think this is a portion where somebody else might be able to contribute, you could just, drop yourself. Brad, that doesn't apply to you. You're going to stay here no matter what. And
you can drop me if needed.
Huh?
You can drop me
You're
silent.
good. You're good. No, but stay for now because we don't have nobody requesting anyway. It's fine for now. I'm just making that. I'm just making that thing. ZNJK. Why is the last person can't get in? Composite's having a hard time. ZN is having a hard time.
Isn't to think that Christianity is true. I'm gonna say that's not true on the
This
side of
is, bro. What kind of weird debate is this, bro? What the heck?
The Prophet Muhammad is trustworthy. His miracles are massively attested.
Oh no, is there gonna be ads on here? Oh, maybe there's not.
They are not ad hoc. They're not open to reinterpretation. And the Hebrew Bible attests to the truthfulness of Prophet Muhammad.
Oh, geez.
Every chapter, in every book of the Hebrew Bible.
Can I say something about this?
The Prophet, peace be upon him, it is multiple.
Yep, and that's the thing, guys. Whenever if somebody has something good to add, as often as you want, because I also don't want to get any strikes for watching this video straight on. So if you have anything to say, feel free to interrupt.
Yeah. So, guys, he was saying like the miracles of the Prophet are like you can test it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not any miracle of the Prophet from the Hadith. You can take it that it's not mutawatir. There is not even one hadith it's mutawatir about the miracles. You can never find one. Even the splitting of the moon, we have 4 people, for example. I'm giving an example. 4 people, 2 of them are children. Yes, 2 of them are children. We don't take their testimony. And one of them is a kafir. His name is Mut'am bin Jubayr. So we don't take him. So the only one to testify to this matter is Abdullah bin Mas'ud. He is the same man that said, we take out the last 2 surahs of the Quran because they are not from the Quran, and the companions did not believe him. So they made him a liar about this stuff. So in those 4 people, none of them is a true, is an honest person. Okay, this is the splitting of the moon they always talk about, and the Torah, and you take all the books. None of them say that Muhammad is coming. None of them. You can they have the only word.
He had one miracle that is mutawatir, right? He convinced everyone Aisha was a woman at 9.
All right. Let's be serious. Let's be serious, guys. Let's be serious here. It's serious. All right. So one thing that I noticed with Libiano, though, is he uses that mutawatir claim for everything. Pretty much whatever he wants to just make a claim about in Islam, he'll just say mutawatir to it. And I think it's just kind of silly because there's no substance there. Like, we can't test that. How do we know that it was mutawatir or not? You get what I'm saying? I feel like.
He attested that he multiplied food.
I think he's like giving his opening statement right now.
There's over 1,400 attested miracles of the Prophet, peace be upon him. So, and he says, well, the disciples died.
Not to mention that the Quran says Muhammad is not supposed to bring miracles. Right, Alex? Doesn't the Quran say that?
Exactly. And you can see something else. In Al-Bukhari, we have 7 miracles. Like, as long as the time is moving forward, we have more miracles. So more lies, more legends about him. Yeah. Why did not time 0 is the Quran when he came with the I'm only a messenger, a man messenger. Although all the messengers before him, like Jesus, for example, or Moses, they came with miracles. I don't know why, like the miracles, the how can you say it, the amount of miracles just ended with God or what? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you remember the wording of the verse in the Quran? How it says it about the miracles?
Yeah. قل هل كنت إلا بشرا رسولا. For the people, they wanna Arabic, they understand Arabic.
Right.
قل
That's
هل
the
كنت
part.
إلا بشرا رسولا. Yeah. Say, wasn't I just a human messenger? So when they asked for miracles, do you want me to go through it?
It's a warner. He's a warner and a reminder.
Yeah, because my issue with the way that the Quran's written is like people were asking for miracles, right?
Yeah, they said we will not believe you up until you go to the sky and come back with a book sent from heaven, or you just like take up a whale from the wasteland or something like this. A lot of miracles they asked, and then he said, "I'm only human."
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. Oh God, the ears, not the ears again. So look at this, guys. I just want you guys to peep at how it was written in the Quran. Nothing keeps us from sending demanded signs, except that they had already been denied by earlier peoples. So this is Allah, I'm guessing, talking here, right?
Yeah, and in another verse, the Quran says, and وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. It means like you don't hold the sins of your fathers. So if my fathers did not believe, why should I take the blame? Give me some miracles. Maybe I believe.
So it'd be weird for this statement to come out first, because we would assume that the Quran is before the Hadith, right? I mean, I think that's just pretty widely accepted. So it seems like when they wrote the Quran, they didn't have any intentions of giving out miracles. But then how convenient when Muhammad's not even alive anymore. Now they can say, oh yeah, he actually did, he had 1,400 miracles, you know? Like, it just seems a little convenient and weird. Anyway, let's keep going.
They went to their death for preaching Christianity. I'm going to say no, there's not a shred of evidence for that. On the contrary, the disciples of the Prophet Muhammad went to their death for the miracles they claimed they saw from the Prophet, for the truthfulness of the Prophet Muhammad. So
did he just say
Yes,
that the disciples didn't die for the Christianity?
This is the thing, bro. This is crazy. Yeah, he just said that.
Wow, that's
literally
You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know about Christianity, but didn't 11 of the 12 died, or 10 of the 12 died for the Christ?
11.
Yes, very, very brutally. They unalived in the
I
most
think Paul was
horrific
crucified
ways.
in reverse.
Yeah,
Paul was
crucified
in
upside
reverse.
down. No, Paul was
Yeah.
beheaded. Peter was crucified upside down. They were all unalived in the most brutal ways. And
Now,
people think that it was what, for a lie? No one unalives brutally like
Except
this for a
John.
lie, bro.
Except
I
John.
think the
He
Christians
cried,
is
but
gonna
he
say
couldn't.
something about
Yeah,
this.
John got to live out his days on the island of Patmos, I think
He's
it
the
was.
only one who unalived peacefully at just of old age. He's the only one who was beloved by Jesus very much.
Yeah, but the thing about this, and this is where I try to be fair here, is my understanding is that most of those are just church traditions.
Most of what, the unalivements? What do you mean?
Yeah, there was
Like
no
they weren't
recorded.
historically proven?
Yeah, it's in the history of the church, so you can't find it externally, but that's because they were all being persecuted, right? So,
right.
The Romans, the Greeks, the governments are not going to record it when they're the ones persecuting them.
Yeah, and also there's something else. Can I say it, or you want to go with the video,
Yeah.
my friend?
Keep going.
Yeah. So, guys, he's saying because the companions of the prophet died for him, then his message is true. That this measurement does not fit, because in the same narrative of Islam we have Musaylama the liar, who claimed to be a prophet, and he gathered 40,000 people, and they all died for his message, and they say he's a liar. So how do you? There's that, you know.
True.
So one thing I just want to make sure. So when I say most of the stories are church traditions, it's specific characters in the Bible, right? Like I don't remember who they all are, but like I think Paul's one of them that we don't have any like third party attestation for, but it's like a church tradition of how he died and when he died and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean, but what there is history of is the church was persecuted for I think like 300 years, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of history was burned too, right?
Yes, that's the other thing, is that there was a mass church and book burning event right up until the end of the persecution. That's the other thing. So this is kind of answering the question. So three things. For one, they were a small group in the beginning. For two, they were poor and illiterate, so you wouldn't expect them to write much anyway. For three, whatever they wrote was written on, what do they call it, papyrus? That didn't last long, especially in Roman climate or whatever. Okay, so these things wouldn't have lasted long anyway. And then for four, they were under persecution, and the Roman Empire was literally trying to erase their history actively. You get what I mean? So then it wasn't until go ahead.
I was going to say Peter was unalived for crucifixion upside down at the site of the Vatican, the hill of the Vatican. That's why the church is there now.
Right. So then what happens is that when the church officially gave up on their when the Roman Empire gave up on their persecution, that's when you start seeing actual manuscript evidence, because it costs money. It was expensive. It was literally expensive to write these things down, but it was also expensive to be able to preserve them. Does that make sense? So that you wouldn't expect a bunch of people running around hiding from the government to be able to do that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
Turn it up?
highly
All right,
cost
bet.
by money and by lives.
But didn't the disciples that were present during the crucifixion of Christ, it was made to appear so in the Quran that Jesus was unalive, and then they would have spread the message of Christ around the world. So how would they unalive for Muhammad? That doesn't even make sense from an Islamic standpoint. The disciples saw Christ unalive, according to the Quran.
Yeah, I think that's one of the strongest evidences we have is that the Quranic author at the time, he could have just sidestepped the whole story, right? He could have just said, no, that never happened. That's left it at that. But the fact that he had to include people's belief about Jesus being crucified into his narrative, and then it forced him into this weird explanation that, like, yeah, of course you saw it, but it just wasn't actually him. I think that is a strong evidence to show that even he knew that he could not just make the blatant argument that it didn't happen. You get what I'm saying? Because nobody would have taken him seriously if he would have made that statement, I think. But yeah.
Exactly. It gives Islam more credibility.
Yeah, he had to include it, yeah.
Fulfilled 10 times more by Islam, if this is the case, then they must leave Christianity and become Muslims. We'll talk more about that later. I think my time is coming to an end here, so I'll give it off to...
You have 2 minutes extra time, but it's okay. You could leave it.
And Alex, do you know a little bit about the history of the early, like what happened right after Muhammad died? Because what he's trying to compare is like people who died for Jesus, right? The people who had died for Jesus had no benefit. They got nothing out of it. They were literally just dying because they believed in a story that wasn't even popular at the time. The people who died for Muhammad...
stuff to say.
Yeah, please say it, because the people who died for Muhammad early on, this is now, you're talking about being able to get political power, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, like for example, let's take Abu Sufyan. If the Muslim people know the story of Abu Sufyan, how he converted to Islam, okay? I'm sorry, I'm gonna take a lot of time. It's so complicated.
Take your time,
So this man really attacked Islam, fought against it, up until the Muhammad won and he entered Mecca. So there came one of the companions, his name Al-Abbas. He put a sword on his neck and he said, it's time for you to say the Shahadatain. You know, the 2 witnesses, testimonies. So he said, La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah. I have no doubts. But for you to be a prophet, I have doubts. So then Al-Abbas said, either you say it or you're going to be unalived. So he said it, okay? This man came from his what do you call his kids.
So it's literally the opposite, right, of Christianity. It's you get unalive for not believing it, and in Christianity you're getting unalive for believing it.
Exactly.
Okay, keep going.
So this man, after him came his son. He's well known. He's well known to Muslims. His name is Muawiyah. I don't know if you heard this name before. He was a Khalifa.
I think I heard of it. Yeah.
He took the Khilafah from Ali bin Abi Talib, and then came the split between the Shia and the Sunnah. Okay? The son of Muawiyah, Yazid, said a very famous poem. He said, لعبت هاشم بالملك. Hashim is the family of the Prophet, Muhammad. He said the family of the Prophet, they played with the, how can I say, with the kingdom, like with the ruling, by saying like, Bani Hashim, people of Hashim, and people of Umayyah, the 2 conflicting families, they were eye to eye on the matter of ruling Quraysh. And then came the Prophet, said that he's a prophet. In this poem, Yazid is saying that we got revenge for what happened in Badr, the first battle between the Quraysh and the Muslims. So he's the Khalifa and he's taking revenge for his family that were kuffar. And he got the ruling. So basically, he got the ruling. He doesn't believe in Islam, but he came politically to be Khalifa. So that's when you see the conflict. This is why the Sunnah and the Shia, they don't agree to anything, because they know that Yazid did this, and they unalived a lot of the people from the family of the Prophet. So it's only political to them.
Right. So it was politically advantageous to become a Muslim, versus in Christianity, it was literally politically and every other way disadvantageous to become a Christian.
I was waiting for Alex to bring up the fact that when Muhammad passed away, there was large apostasy.
Large
Because
apostasy.
he made a claim. He made a claim that the prophets' bodies don't decay, and within 2 days, his body was decaying. And then Abu Bakr enforced unaliving anyone who left, and it was a mass slaughterhouse.
Perfect. Let's keep going here.
It's fine. I'll give the rest to Cora.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, for sure. And let's go ahead and pick up right off where Libiano left off. Now, I'm going to give you guys what I think is the most foundational evidence to prove that Islam is true. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says in a hadith that the hour will not come until the Muslims fight against those with small eyes, red faces, flat noses, and the description goes on. Now,
the funny thing about this is the hour still didn't come. Right? It must not be the hour, bro. It's like the year or something. Cause she's when they say the hour, Alex, they're talking about the last day, basically, right?
Yeah, but who's she referring to? What race?
The Mongols. She's gonna say it here in a second. I just want to point out that this is an end time prophecy, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it's Genghis Khan, about Genghis Khan. I think it talks about them.
Yeah. So according to her, then end time prophecy got fulfilled 1400 years ago. So we're still in the hour right now, guys. Am I right? Am I tripping, Alex, or what? Or am I misunderstanding?
No, you're right. You're right. But I literally don't know this hadith. Maybe it's not sahih. Because they tend to do this.
You gotta be careful with Cora, because she be making stuff up sometimes, and she gets dicey stuff too.
Sometimes just to prove something, they take from. You gotta be careful, guys, when you debate Muslims. They take from Sirah. The Sirah is not sahih. You can never hold them to it because there is no sanad. There's no chain into it.
There's no snake.
So you can never. Yeah. So they always take from this.
The other
that's
thing
what
is,
she did with the. That's what she did. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say she did that in the 1v20. She said like, "Oh, Angel Gabriel did reveal himself to Muhammad and did tell him to not be afraid." That comes from a weak hadith from the Sirah. Like she just be lying.
Yeah, but guys, I know you want to move on, Scary, but remember, this is good for us.
Yeah.
When they get clipped on live making lies, it's good for us.
Yeah,
that's why I don't mind losing a debate in the moment. If I know I can come to Scary and he can resolve it for me, then I win at the end of the day.
That's the key factor here. Is I also have that same thing. I don't care. Like, cook me live. I don't care. You know more things than I do. I don't care. Maybe you have maybe you have your notepad on the wall with a bunch of fun facts that I don't know. Okay, cool. But at least I'm gonna hear your best answers. I could then take it, review it, and verify it. Right? And also what I like about this is, like, let's be honest here, guys. This is their best of the best right now. Nobody's accepting debates with them. So they found Stuart and Cliff, and okay, whoop-de-doo, and they thought they were gonna have a field day. Okay, but now we get to hear their answers, right? This is what would have happened to any of us. This is what would have happened to Brett or any of the top people. This is what they would be dealing with if it wasn't for Cliff and Stuart. So
it's scary. The Muslim man with the beard. I've talked with him before on his live.
Of course. He used to be big on TikTok.
He's so stupid, man.
He is very stupid. Yes, he is.
I said to him, how do you prove that this book is from Allah? He said, because Allah said it in the book. And and I started just for a bit because I don't speak English very well. And he started mocking my English. I said, dude, I speak Arabic, in the original Arabic that you study your books. Then he kicked me out because I'm an ex-Muslim.
Yep, that's what he does. He's rhetoric max, and his favorite word is mutawatir. He just hides behind mutawatir about everything. Bro, let's keep going.
This is a perfect prediction.
Do you guys see a person there? I don't. I'm seeing a chair.
Of the siege of Baghdad when the Mongols came to Iraq and fought the Muslims. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, hundreds of years before this event, prophesizes that it's going to take place, and not only does he prophesize that the event is going to take place.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, Alex, about these prophecies that we find in the hadith, right? What's the earliest manuscript we have for hadiths?
From 100, some say 100. The earliest one they say, earliest opinion is 100 after the passing of the Prophet.
Okay, so There's nothing to say that a lot of these things could have been written after the fact, I'm guessing.
Exactly. You can
Right.
never know for sure.
Right.
But he describes exactly who the Muslims
Yes, guys, this is live. This is happening right now.
Now, another evidence for Islam is contained within the Quran itself, where in Surah 6, we have a story where Abraham is essentially denouncing 3 different, we can portray as idols, or false gods, or things that are taken besides God as worship. And he talks about the sun, the moon, and what is called in the Arabic language, the Kawkab, which is a planet, which is identified as Venus. Now, the Quran in the 7th century identifies this knowledge explicitly. And not only does it do that, but it identifies this knowledge of the unknowable past that was not found until the 20th century. Now, how could the Prophet Muhammad...
I had seen her say this. Have you guys all track what she's saying here, by any chance?
Yeah. There's a problem with this. A very big problem.
Go ahead.
All of this region of the Abraham and all the prophets, where they came from, they used the stars to find their ways. So how the hell did he not know? How could he go back to his home? How could they travel? All of them, they used to travel to Egypt, to Palestine or Israel, as you want to call it, or Syria right now, or all of this region. How can they know their ways if they don't know the stars?
But
this is a big one.
But she's talking about the worship of the sun and the moon and the stars.
Yeah, we have a hadith about this, talking about that Prophet Muhammad said, Prophet Ibrahim only said 3 lies. So basically he was lying according to the Prophet Muhammad. So we have a very easy, how can you say, equation. Either Muhammad is a liar because he lied on Abraham, or Abraham is a liar because Muhammad said so. So one of them is a liar. How can you solve this?
But the point is that, so because I had seen this, I've seen her say this in other lives, and I saw her put out a clip on it, and I don't remember because I did a little bit of research on it, but I think the matter was that she's saying that it wasn't officially discovered until like the 20th century that people living in and around the area where Abraham would have been were sun and moon and star worshippers.
I basically have nothing.
And so therefore, how could Muhammad have made that claim in the 7th century? That's her whole thing.
But in history, it's been confirmed that people were worshiping the planets anyways, even before
everybody
Muhammad.
was a damn sun and moon and star. Do you know one society that was not worshiping the sun and the moon and the stars? I can't think of one.
Even Allah does it in chapter 70, verse 40. He says, "I swear by the Lord of the sun and the moon."
Mm-hmm. So there's no reason for us to say, okay, Muhammad would have just heard that like he heard everything else that he was writing about. But I hope you guys catch that because he just puts it in a way that makes it sound impressive. I don't think it's impressive at all.
Actually, you can debate this in the Quran itself. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, she's trying to make it sound like Muhammad had no knowledge of that because it never existed. So therefore, he is like an amazing prophet because he saw this predestiny of people doing it. But it was around. He could have just heard it.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. So basically, you know the famous challenge, the Muslim, they say like, can you bring a Quran like it, or can you bring one verse like it? In the Quran itself, the mushrikeen, they say, لو شئنا لقلنا مثل هذا إن هذا إلا أساطير الأولين. I'm gonna translate. If we want, we would have bring the same. It's only the legends of the old men, like our fathers. So they knew about it. Yeah, like basically the Muslim think that humanity began at the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah. He was hearing everything, dude. He was a merchant. People were traveling from outside of Arabia, into Mecca. He was traveling outside, going. Of course, they told each other stories.
Sallallahu alayhi wasallam have brought forth such a miraculous historical claim about the ancient Babylonians and what they worshipped if he did not possess some sort of divine knowledge from God. Now, a usual rebuttal that people bring is that the Quran somehow copied the Bible. Now, in the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 2, it talks about what the people in Abraham's time worshipped besides God. And all it says is that they took false gods. So the Bible does not give us any knowledge of what is happening in Abraham's time. And the Quran comes and makes this historical claim,
Can I
and it
stop there?
absolutely gets it right. Those are the evidence.
She
For all the
swears she's
Christians
cooking right
and
now.
for the Christian and the Jew, I need to know something. In Judaism, they talk about Babylon and the Tower, right? So
the
it's
Tower of
basically
Babel,
the Torah and the Tanakh and all of this Jewish stuff. I know so little. I need to understand this.
Gary, anytime a Muslim brings up that, bring me a verse like something in the Quran, you can go to chapter 5, verse 32, and then pull up the Mishnah in the Talmud. And word for word, it says if you unalive one innocent person, it's like you unalived all of mankind, which is one of their favorite verses.
Yeah, but they're quoting the Torah in that verse. So I don't know if that would count.
Yeah, exactly. So we have so many tribes that they are Jews, like Khazraj, Al-Aus al-Khazraj, where they fight with the Jews, Bani Nadir, Bani Qaynaqa, all of these people, these tribes were Jews. And Mecca was,
One thing, Alex, scary, that's not in the Torah, from what I understand. It's in the Talmud, in the Mishnah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They're
he
still
could have
quoting
heard
something.
it with the Jews, my friend. The Jews are there. So it's easier to say that he asked some Jew to know about his religion. Maybe he said to a Jew, hey, I want to know about your religion. Let me know. Like, I'm really intrigued. And some Jew told him all of this. It's better than to say a creature in the sky who'd never seen him, nobody seen him, told him all of this. So where's the problem in this?
Yep. Thank you, Brad, for the gifts. So guys, so just to piggyback up what Alex just said, Medina was a Jewish town. Okay? And Muhammad spent what, like 10 years in Medina? So, and there's actually hadiths where the Jews were in, like, it sounded weird to me when I first thought about it, because Yaqub asked me, he said, why would the Jews teach Muhammad, some random Arabic guy, about their stories? But they have hadiths saying this, that they did do that. They were teaching them the Torah in Arabic. They were teaching them all their other stories. Muhammad is saying there is no sin in you guys, the Muslims, also telling each other about the Jewish stories that have been taught to you. This is explicitly admitted to.
You can take Waraq ibn Nawfal, for example. You know, the translator of the Bible. He translated the Bible from Greek to Arabic. He was the cousin of Khadija, his wife. So basically, he could ask him anything about Christianity and Judaism, because they are basically the same. The Christians take the Torah, right?
Yep.
Take the Old Testament. So he was translating it. So he told him everything. What's wrong? And to back this up, when Waraq ibn Nawfal died,
does Waraq mean paper?
Stopped. Suddenly stopped the revelation. Oh my God, what a coincidence. When Waraq ibn Nawfal died, suddenly the revelation stopped. Basically, hello.
So guys.
You see, it's names like Waraka. It seems like it's names like Waraka that make me realize these hadith were fabricated, bro. Like, this is all made up.
Paper bin Nawfal, that was his name.
Bro, it's like finding out Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z is literally called a vegetable.
Right.
I think she's trying to make it seem like the Quran is superior in knowledge than the Bible, but without the Bible, you can't make sense of the Quran. Like, for example, like, I don't remember if it was in the Quran or the Hadith where it talks about basically the story of Cain and Abel, but it doesn't mention their names. It just says that one brother killed the other one. Without the Bible, you'll never know who that is.
Yep. Let's keep going here.
Evidences for Islam. Now, to go ahead and talk more about Christianity, I'll pick up right after the brother Libiano. So the brother here, what he did is he went over the Old Testament. Now, the Old Testament, we talk about messianic prophecy, we talk about things of that nature. Now, I'll go ahead and pick up on the New Testament. The New Testament, what is claimed
major tripping, bro.
Jesus' sacrifice somehow put an end to sin
major
sacrifice.
tripping.
Now, if this is the case, now let's go ahead to the book of Acts chapter 21.
So my Gomez.
Acts chapter 21 details an instance where Paul is brought by the disciples of Jesus post-crucifixion and resurrection, and he is asked to participate in the Nazarite vow. Now, the specific...
All right, Brett, do you know what's going on here by any chance? I want to make sure you get this because you're newer to Christianity. Do you know what she's talking about?
I was opening my window, so I missed this part.
So
Can you replay it a little bit?
Yeah, so she's basically saying about she's talking about how Christians claim in the New Testament that Jesus Christ put an end to sin sacrifices through his death. And she quotes when Jesus says on the cross, it is over, or something like that, or it is finished, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Christians say, oh, when Jesus says it is finished, that means nobody else has to do sin sacrifice. But then she's now using the fact that after Jesus is crucified, we still find Paul doing a sin sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard her use this argument before, but I don't know what the rebuttal would be.
Okay,
I just find it funny because I was literally debating Central on this, and he kicked me out because he was figuring that he was talking to someone that actually knew who he was talking about.
Yeah, so
if
let's
you
talk
go look
about
at the
this.
story, yeah, if you
ahead,
go
sis.
look at the story, if you go to the Old Testament, it says you have to do the Nazirite vow if someone died or you were atoning for your sins. That's the two main criteria. So if you go look at Acts, when Paul is said to have done the Nazirite vow, no one died, and there's no sin he's atoning for. So it wasn't actually his idea to do the Nazirite vow, it was the disciples, because the disciples were approached by people saying that Paul was preaching something other than the gospel, that he was being a heretic, a blasphemer, that his message wasn't true. So the disciples said, Paul, obviously these are concerns of ours. We want you to prove to the people that you are a true apostle, that your message is true. So they gave Paul the idea, how are you going to do that? Well, go and do a vow just like the Jews were doing. So then it shows that you do adhere to the customs that they do and that you are a true follower of God. So that's why he went and he did it. And the people were like, oh, okay, he shares in the same customs we do.
Right. So what I want to just make sure it gets across. What's up, boss? What happened?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, but the sister actually answered the question. Cora basically lied about that verse because that verse has nothing to do with a sin sacrifice in the book of Acts. It was merely a Jewish custom, a Jewish tradition. And Paul wasn't doing it for the forgiveness of sins, as Jesus put an end to the sin sacrifice by his...
This is where I get concerned about Christians sometimes, I swear. You guys are really doing yourself a disservice, I think, from my point of view, to deny... Because, I mean, what is a sacrifice for? You can call it a sacrifice of something else or whatever, but, I mean, a blood sacrifice is generally understood to be for the forgiveness of sins. So...
Yeah, the sacrifice that... the sacrifice in the book of Acts wasn't a sin sacrifice. It was a Jewish tradition. All right? Because Christ put an end to the sin sacrifice.
Brother, do you have to do the Nazirite vow? Whatever it's for?
Sorry?
Do you have to do the Nazirite vow, whatever it's for?
No.
No, right? So why was Paul doing it?
Because Paul was Jewish. He didn't have to do it, but he was Jewish, yes. Basically, it was a Jewish custom.
So he's just following Jewish law?
Well, it was not that he was under the law, but again, he was doing it to show that, hey, I'm doing this to show you guys that I don't have, I'm not under the Jewish law, but because I'm Jewish, I don't have a problem following tradition.
Okay. So, and what was the purpose of him doing that? Why didn't he say no? No, thank you.
Right. So he was just showing that he was. I'm having an echo.
You're fine, brother. Keep going.
Yeah. Right. So basically, he was showing the Jews that, hey, I don't have a problem with Jewish tradition, but again, that wasn't to do anything with sin sacrifice.
Okay. So let me just say my issues with these statements, and then you guys could do whatever you want with it. But I always sense that in these moments, Christians get defensive. Right?
Okay.
She's throwing it out there, maybe as a rage bait. To be honest with you, I don't know too much about the Nazirite vow. She's claiming that part of it, she's saying there's 3 sacrifices in the Nazirite vow. One of them she claims is part of a sin offering. Now, you're saying it's not. I don't know. I'm actually more inclined to take her word for it in this scenario, because she's made this claim several times that I've never heard from top people like God Logic say, oh, no, it's not a sin offering. He didn't say that. His answer basically comes down to more of, yes, he did it, but we have to understand why. He never goes into saying, "Oh, it's not a sin offering." You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, brother.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. So
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
but you still want to be defensive over it, right?
No. I was actually allowing you to speak. I'm hearing an echo in my mic. That's why.
All right, brother. Hold on. I just want to let Lil Deer up real quick for this because Lil Deer also gets defensive sometimes. What's up, Lil Deer?
I've got the hi. I've got the for a Nazarite vow that comes from before the law. That was what. Oh gosh. Anyhow, it's outlined in number 6.
So what do you mean it's before in the Bible? The law? Why is it before the law if it's in Numbers?
It's a vow that was taken to dedicate themselves to God, to the service of God. That's what a Nazarite vow is. It's in number 6.
All right, but it's in the Old Testament.
It's in the Old Testament, correct?
All right. So
had nothing to do with sin sacrifice. It was a vow to God. It's in number 6. Let's read it. Do you want to read it?
No. I'm okay with that. My problem is with this, right? There in any kind of like rage bait, because this is a rage bait. This is literally a rage bait argument that she's doing. She's trying to rage bait you guys, okay? And you guys are just falling for it by saying, "Oh no, it doesn't actually mean sin offering." Who cares what it is? He's following the Old Testament when there's no good reason to do that. I don't care if he's washing his pinky toe like from the Old Testament. You get what I'm saying? He's doing something from the Old Testament. That's really the heart of the issue here, okay? So for me, the only answer that I would give there is basically what Paul says, right? Like he says, to the Jews, I become like the Jew to basically save them and to bring them to Christ. And to the Gentiles, I become like a Gentile to save them and to bring them to Christ. To all, what does he say? To all men, I become all things for the glory of God or something like that. Doesn't he say that?
Yep.
That's all. That's the answer.
Very good. Thank you.
You don't have to, like, okay, if you know more about her about this thing, cool. But just, I hate when you guys get stuck there because then you guys get stuck in like a 40-minute conversation about what it actually is, and you don't get to the point of like, okay, who cares what it is? Why did Paul do it? You get what I'm saying? Because the point is this, then they're going to say, oh, it doesn't apply? Well, what about the verse where Jesus said, until heaven and earth passes away, not a single letter of the law will pass? Then what?
Yeah, I think this girl has a point on this matter. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not Christian, also, so you know.
He's got a great point. And this is what they do. They rage.
He's saying Cora has a point.
Oh, Cora's got a point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Scary's got the better point. Because it had nothing to do with the vow itself. It had to do with because he was a Jew, he followed the Jews in order to win them to Christ.
Do you go around telling people that the Old Testament vows or promises are no longer valid? Just curious.
That the Old Testament vows are no longer valid?
The promises that God made. Yeah, the promises that God makes through the Old Covenant. Do you say that they're no longer, that they don't work anymore?
To the Jews, right?
What do you, yeah, to the Jews.
So the Jews are the only ones that practice those laws, right? The law of Moses.
Yes.
They were the only ones that practiced that. It was for them, and actually, if we look at in Deuteronomy, those laws were the laws of the land, just like we have the laws of our land, right? Mm-hmm. Do I live in Israel?
Are they valid, sister, for Jews?
They're valid for Jews. It's a custom for their land. They were laws of their land.
But are they valid? They're valid for the Jews, right?
Yeah, it's valid for the Jews. They were the laws of their land. The 316 laws, 2/3 of them got eliminated because they don't have a temple.
So if a Jew decides that he does want to live under those laws, he could, right?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
The 613 laws, because it's the laws of the land. But like I said, 2/3 of them are eliminated because they have no temple. They can't perform the temple sacrifice. They can't perform the temple duties.
Right.
That's what 2/3 of those 613 laws are.
Right.
And those 613 laws are for the laws for the land. Don't eat the camel. Don't eat the rabbit. Don't eat the pig. You know, and there were circumstances why that was introduced, but those were the laws that they had for their land.
Right. I just feel a little resistance from Christians, and I'm hearing it from you right now, that you guys do not want to say that.
Do not want to say what? That they don't have to perform them anymore?
No, not that they don't have to. That's actually the actual answer is it's still valid if you want to subjugate yourself to 600 something laws and you want to live under them. They are still valid for you. You could still apply them in your life. And supposedly the promises that are granted through those laws will still be given to you. But the difference is that now they're no longer obligatory. That's the only difference.
Correct. They're not obligatory.
Mm-hmm. So there's nothing wrong with Paul keeping something from the Old Testament because what's wrong with it? It still has some meaning. It still has some purpose. It's still applicable. If you want it to be, if you want to live under the law, you get what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't see how, you know, even if that was the case, like, I don't see how that refutes the fact that Jesus died for our sins, because even Paul says that himself. So just because he chooses to, you know, do a sin sacrifice, he clearly still believed that Jesus died for our sins.
Correct. She's trying to use it in a way where she's saying, look, this proves that even Paul didn't believe Jesus died for our sins. That's how she's trying to word it. Because she's saying, oh, if he really believed Jesus died for our sins, then why is he doing a sin offering? Right? But that's not.
Well, did you hear Cora? Did you hear Cora just pretends to be an authority online, but she doesn't really believe half the stuff she says?
Yes, brother, that's completely off topic right now.
We host maybe listen more to this to her argument, so we would understand what you want to say.
Say that again, brother Alex.
Like maybe you'll play the video so we understand what does she want to say.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Specific stipulations of the Nazirite vow are mentioned in the book of Numbers, chapter 6. Now, one of the stipulations within the Nazirite vow is to perform 3 offerings or sacrifices, and the second of those 3 offerings is a sin sacrifice. So I'll ask the question, if Jesus was preaching that his crucifixion would put an end to sin sacrifice, the Jesus of the Bible, the Jesus in the Gospels says this is finished when he is crucified. If it is true that his crucifixion puts an end to sin sacrifice, then why are Paul and the disciples participating in sin offerings or sin atonement rituals? And to pick up even further, because we want to talk about what Jesus and the historical Jesus preached. Now, the Gospels claim that the historical Jesus preached that Jesus was going to be crucified and resurrected on the 3rd day. But this is internally inconsistent because the disciples make it very obvious in both their actions and their speech that they were not expecting a dying and rising Messiah. When the women come to the tomb of Jesus on the 3rd day to anoint his body, on the 3rd day, if Jesus was actually preaching that he was going to be resurrected, they would have came to the tomb and expecting him to be resurrected. But instead, the first conclusion that they draw is that his body was stolen. Now, I want to give an analogy so this can make more sense. Now, we know that via human psychology, if I over and over again tell you about events, this event is going to take place, this event is going to take place, and this event is going to take place. Let's say I say that I'm going to go to the store, and when I go to the store, I'm going to essentially get arrested.
Boy, these arguments
I'm going to
suck.
go to jail for 3 days. I'm going to be let out of jail, and then after that,
Does anybody want to comment on this new point she's making, or the last?
So she's running the Oxos argument, right?
The which one?
The he will never take the wine again. Is that what she's running?
That he was never what?
I came in late. What's the argument she's running? I think this is the soured wine, or no?
No. This right now she's saying, if Jesus indeed was prophesying his death, which he was, to the disciples, then why didn't disciples act like they knew it was going to happen? Because what she's saying is, Jesus says, for example, destroy this temple and I'll raise it up in 3 days, right? And then the disciples recorded the temple he was talking about was his body. So then why, when he died 3 days later, the only one who actually went to see if he was in the tomb was Mary? They should have all been there.
No, well, what I think, like humans are limited, right? But Jesus did foreshadow it. We see it in the scripture. The only thing I can relate to this was when he told Peter he's going to deny him 3 times. Peter had no idea what he was talking about. But Peter said right before Jesus answered that I'd give my life for you. That's how much I love you. Right? But then Peter did deny him 3 times in that event.
What do you think, Lil Deer?
I was going to say, I mean, how many times did Jesus have to give a parable? And those guys are like, what does that parable mean? And he'd have to explain it to them.
Right.
And this is the Bible even literally says that. It says, but they didn't understand any of this. The significance of his words was hidden from them, and they failed to grasp what he was talking about. So that's why they didn't expect his resurrection, because they didn't expect it. They didn't understand it.
Right. Exactly. That's basically it, guys. They didn't believe it. They were just witnessing real time. Jesus is saying what he's gonna do, but they don't know if it's true or not. Even until the last moment, like you said, Peter was told he's gonna deny, and he's like, no, I would never. I'll die before I do that, and then he denies. So you could tell they were shaky even until that last moment. What actually finally gives them faith, real faith, is not up until after they realized he resurrected. That's when they were like, oh shit, this is real. You get what I'm saying?
Scary. It's really scary to me that you can respond to these tough questions better than your local pastor can.
That's funny.
No, you got it so good, man. That's great.
Well, you know what's funny? That's because he's your local pastor.
That's hilarious. No, I'm not. What is it when you can see when Jesus walks up to the 2 disciples on the road to, what was it, Emmaus, if I'm not mistaken? And they're kept from recognizing Jesus at that point, right? And they're walking, and he's like, "Hey," Jesus is like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And they're like, "Are you just passing through? Like, have you not heard what's been happening here? The Messiah called Christ just got crucified. Like, we had hoped that he was gonna be the Redeemer of Israel, but I guess not." This shows you their mindset up until that point is they still weren't in alignment with what Jesus was telling them. Right? Jesus was telling them, he was like, are you going to restore the kingdom right now? Are you going to get us out from under this Roman persecution? And Jesus Christ was like, no, I'm not. My kingdom's not of this earth, so you guys are going to have to be under Roman persecution for a long time, and good luck. We'll see you in heaven. That was his message. But even after he died, they were still thinking, oh, he was supposed to redeem us. No, he told you he wasn't supposed to redeem you, not in the way that you thought, like in a physical sense. You get what I'm saying? So their faith was shaky. Literally, Jesus walks up to him and he's like, "Oh shit! Like, I'm not gonna believe until I touch you." Oh, then Jesus has to put his fingers in his hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it's like they were shaky. They literally saw Jesus walking on water, and Peter's like, was it Peter that he still doubted in that moment? Sorry, Don Juan, I didn't mean to say put his finger in his hole. in his wounds. But yeah, these guys weren't, bro. It wasn't until it was the resurrection. This is when Christianity boomed. This is when they finally realized, okay, guys, this is not a joke. All the other stuff we weren't sure about until this moment. But it was after the resurrection that they finally started to have faith. Hold on, we got let me see here 1 second. Let me ZNFK. I want to let up Rob Christian real quick, guys, if you guys don't mind. What's up, Rob?
I was turn off the ear emoji flying in your face. That was yesterday.
No, that's still funny. That's still funny. That's forever. We're sticking to the ears. Ears in the chat. Well, whenever we see something that Muhammad would have heard from somebody else and claimed it as a revelation.
Rob, Rob, I just want to say God bless you and thank you for refuting them about the Zut hadith. They're trying to come for me, but they're scared to talk to you, which is funny.
Thank you, sister. God bless you guys. Carry all of you.
God bless you, brother.
It's funny that they like to debate. All the respect to the sister. She's doing an amazing job, guys. Give her some love. And nice to meet you again, Sister Brett. May the Lord protect you and keep you safe.
Thank you. Me too.
But the thing is, they try to go after people who don't speak the Arabic language. Yet they are hiding from the people who brought this authentic hadith to the public. So ask yourself this question: why are they hiding? Why are they debating people who don't have the actual knowledge about the hadith, like moi? Right?
My friend, I talked to him.
Scary, why are you laughing, bro? Come on, bro. It's not funny.
He's
They're
laughing.
hiding.
The ear. Everybody's putting
The ears, bro. They won't stop, bro.
Hold on, about yesterday, huh? About yesterday.
Anyway, keep going.
I wanna talk about the video that you played earlier of yesterday's so-called debate. That wasn't a debate, to be honest with you. They are calling it the debate of 2026. Yet they debated non-debaters.
Non-debaters, right? Exactly. That's all
They
got left.
debated street speeches, bro. These people are not debaters. Why are they hiding from the actual debaters? And why are they debating street preachers who don't know much about?
Exactly. And
But they don't
debating
have knowledge how to debate. These
debating
people,
is a
don't get me
skill.
wrong, guys. They're amazing Christian brothers, but they don't have the knowledge about debating. They don't have the debating skill. Yet they are calling it. It's embarrassing. Cora just said on X that she just had a debate of 2026, the biggest debate. Wow.
Yeah. Debating is a skill, and doing street evangelism, that doesn't mean that you have that debate skill. And it's like they want to debate any Christian that comes on and speaks about their faith. And the thing is, like, they've been debating for years, and they have specific tactics that they use that even if their arguments are trash, they'd still appear to win the debate.
But it's not only that, Sister Brad. They lied literally about everything. They lied about the ahruf. They lied about the tawatur on the ahruf and the qira'at. They lied about the so-called prophecy. You guys played it earlier. The prophecy about supposedly the siege of Baghdad. You played it, right? What did they say exactly about it? What did Korah? Because remember, Korah is repeating literally the stuff that I refuted Orthodox duck lips about that so-called siege. It's a very weak hadith, actually. It's embarrassing that they bring a weak hadith and call it a prophecy.
I told you. I did not know this hadith.
Yeah. Keep going.
Brother Scary, I uploaded multiple videos about this so-called prophecy, and I refuted Orthodox duck lips left, right, and center about it. So why again they lie about this so-called prophecy that wasn't even a prophecy? It's a weak hadith.
Because they know they're talking to people. They're talking to people that don't have that knowledge, and they know that.
Yeah, talk about it, Rob. Give us information on that, because I want to know this too. This information about
hadith. If you can look up my video, let me give you the title of my video. If you go to my YouTube channel, click on playlist, and find the playlist about Orthodox duck lips. I created literally a playlist, guys, on my YouTube channel, where I refuted Orthodox duck lips most of his so-called strongest arguments. I refuted him about many things, but I literally have an entire playlist dedicated to Orthodox duck lips, and I buried him on that so-called prophecy about the Mongols.
And you gave him some Arabic reading lessons too. That was a bonus. That was on the house, and you charged him for that.
So, what's the key points that we need to know about that prophecy, brother? Is it just that it's weak? What else?
Well, it's very weak, and the narrator, he literally stole a story that he found in the Bible. So we're talking about a narrator. He stole a prophecy, about the Turks. It's originally about the Turks. It has nothing to do with the Mongols.
Wait,
That's one.
This is a Christian prophecy first?
Yeah, it's about the Turks, you know. So the Muslim narrator, he stole it from the Bible, and then he wanted to attribute it to Muhammad, but it has nothing to do with the siege of Baghdad, and it's talking about a totally different city. It's actually Basra, because remember the Mongols did not attack Baghdad; they attacked Basra, and because of that, basically Baghdad surrendered. So there goes the prophecy. That's one. It's like 100 kilometers the other way, because Basra and Baghdad are not even close. So this so-called prophecy fails on all points or all sides.
Yeah, they can only use these tactics with people that are not hip to these things. That's the other problem with Cliff and his son, is they're not familiar with their dirty debate tactics.
Exactly.
They're not familiar with their
But you know-
lies. So they
You know
take
why this is
advantage
good
of them.
though?
Hold on, guys. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Scary, is it okay if you play the video clip that I did about the Orthodox clips and destroyed him on that so-called prophecy so that everybody can benefit?
Yeah, sure. Just tell me what you want me to look up.
Yeah, the video is called, if you look up Rob Christian and then Orthodox duck lips, so Orthodox Muslim finally responded to me, because he responded to me after I buried him.
Just type in Rob Christian Orthodox Muslim.
Yeah, Orthodox Muslim responded to me, something like that. That's the title of the video.
Okay, let me see what comes up.
Yo, we need the Orthodox Muslim to pull up when Rob is here.
Yeah, right.
He's too
As if
scared to
he
do
would
that.
dare. As if he would dare. Guys, I was an Orthodox Muslim, so if you want to ask me about this.
But
This
yeah,
is the video. I posted the link. Can you see the link in the chat, guys?
Yeah, I see it.
That's the one.
But you're real quick. The only reason why I think this is good that
Libiano.
Cliff and his son got to see this side of
But didn't they do this before? I
the
feel like they
debating tactics.
I feel like they debated them a while back. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, we buried the argument already like months ago, and Korah, for some reason, is using the same false prophecy that we refuted the Orthodox clips about it. So why would you lie to your gullible people? Well, they can lie to Christians, you know. They know they can. But why would you lie to your own Muslim audience?
Okay.
Imagine if I would come
Can I
up and
say-
I say, you know what, guys? Here is an argument, but it's all fake. Why would you do that?
Hey, Rob,
I mean, I
can
understand that
give you
they
a
want to
chance?
deceive Christians, but what about Muslims?
Rob, do they
Hey,
have
Rob.
250,000 manuscripts from the first century?
They have nothing. There is not one single manuscript that agrees with today's Quran, not one.
I can't believe they really lied and said that. Like, that's such a bold lie.
That's a big number, man. He said we have 10 times more manuscripts than you have.
They
You
have
a credit card size.
250,000 manuscripts, all by Muslim sources that don't match each other.
Bro,
That's what
there
they
are
have.
basically
They don't
there are
match.
basically 5 major manuscripts, right? You have, for example, the Topkapi manuscript. You have the Samarkand. You have the Huzayni. You have a couple of others. The Sana'a one, but all of them do not agree. They are not complete. They are not from the 7th century. They are
Mind
not
you, Rob,
authentic. What's left?
Rob, mind you, the Sana'a
I'm not even going
manuscript-
to mention the Birmingham manuscript because that's a joke of a manuscript.
Rob, the Sana'a manuscript doesn't even match its own bottom layer. It has
Yep.
2 layers and they don't even match each other. The same
Exactly.
manuscript has contradictions.
Yep.
And guys, I want you guys to understand this too. The amount of manuscripts does not matter at all when you have a controlled transmission. Does everybody know what that is? A controlled transmission?
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's not
Guys,
impressive.
I did multiple live shows about these so-called manuscripts. I went pretty much through all of the major ones.
Yeah. So
Do you know what the people are the people are responsible for the 1924 Hafs edition, the Cairo edition? Those are the scholars of Al Azhar. The scholars of Al Azhar wrote a book, and they admitted in their book, Okay, they admitted in their book that all the existing manuscript that they have in their possession, they cannot verify, they cannot give hard evidence that all the existing manuscript can be dated back to the 7th century, or let alone to be even called Authentic. Yes, they labeled them as Authentic, but they cannot prove that they're Authentic. What does that tell you? If they themselves admit it.
Right. So I just want to make sure everybody gets this, Brad, as well. When you have a controlled transmission, it doesn't matter how much consistency you can prove after that. It's not impressive because you literally have one central figure, one authority that is controlling all of the entire process of the dissemination of the manuscripts. Does that make sense? So what's impressive about that? If you have one central figure just saying, burn this, burn that, burn that, burn that, we have a mass burning event. Okay, you would expect to have uniformity after that. Duh.
Exactly. And that's what I always say. I always say, like, why, how does it prove that it's really from God? Because what if I wrote something and then I had it perfectly preserved for, you know, centuries and centuries? That doesn't mean that it's from God.
Yeah.
But still, they cannot prove it. They don't, there is nothing called preservation. It's a big fat lie and a joke.
The fact that
Even
they have
Imam Malik, you know who Imam Malik is, right, guys? Imam Malik is the Mufti of Medina. When he was in Medina, no other Mufti would dare to issue fatwas when he was in Medina. Imam Malik said when he was asked, where is the Mus'haf of Uthman? He said, it's gone. What does that mean? When he says that the Quran of Uthman is gone, the Mus'haf of Uthman is gone. That means it doesn't exist.
So they burned everything and they still have 30 different Qurans.
Exactly. And you
That's
know what?
terrible.
There's authentic hadith that says, I forgot who narrated it, but it's authentic. Basically, it says nobody should say that they have the full Quran memorized because much of it has been lost. Rather, they should say that they have memorized what remains of it.
Yep.
Yep.
Now on the
that
flip side,
that was Ibn Omar, the son of Caliph Omar. That's him, and the hadith is authentic.
now on the flip side, the Christians, uncontrolled transmission, completely out. Anybody who was anybody could have wrote their own version of the story, and then you still find 90 to 95% uniformity. That's actually impressive. Does that make sense?
Brother Scary, can you play the video? And guys, if you don't mind, listen how easy it is to refute them. So I hope everybody can watch the video in their free time as well. I post the link. Let me post it one more time. Please, guys, watch it so you understand how they lie about so-called prophecies, fake prophecies that never were fulfilled. Play it, brother. God bless you.
So guys, the video is called Muslim Orthodoxy Finally Responded Part 3. That's what it's called.
I'm shocked. I really didn't expect you to do a video about me.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 27. It's a trap.
Anyone who had tried to do that in the past has committed a career suicide. You are now my victim. I will again show everyone how low tier you are and proof that you yourself destroyed your last remaining credibility as a Muslim apologist. You're going to pay for the one mistake, creating a response video about me. Everyone knows that you are a coward and you would have never dared to face me in an actual debate anyway.
Now, I had a Christian buffoon respond to me with a terrible response.
That's cute. Now watch how this buffoon will destroy you, bury you and your so-called prophecy 10 feet under. So in his response video, where he's going to supposedly refute me and the writer of the article which he stole the diagram from, he goes to chapter 48, ayah 27 to try to make a point. But watch how he has no idea how to read the Arabic Quran and makes blunder after blunder after blunder when he's trying his best to read the verse.
In Surah Al-Fath, verse 27, look what it says. لَقَدْ صَدَقَ اللَّهُ رَسُولَهُ الرُّؤْيَا بِالْحَقِّ لَتَدْخُلَنَّ.
It's لَتَدْخُلُنَّ يا جاهل لك يا مسكين.
لَتَدْخُلَنَّ المسجد الحرام.
It's al-harama with the fatha on the letter meme.
الحرام. الحرام إن شاء الله.
It's Allahu. You forgot the dhamma.
Allah.
Allahu.
Allah.
Allahu.
آمنين.
It's aminina.
آمنين.
Aminina.
آمنين.
Aminina. This is unforgivable. Didn't they teach you at the madrasa to recite the Quran correctly, ya lesbiano? I mean, you're a Muslim, not me. At least respect your Quran when you try to read it. He made not one, not two, not three, but 4 different mistakes. Like, ya miskeen, you and what army are going to refute me while I didn't even lift a finger yet? I didn't even start yet. Why are you even trying to read Arabic if you're going to corrupt the Quran anyway? Close shop, man. Your dawah days are over. Now, don't get me wrong. Everyone makes reading mistakes. But when you're going to make a so-called perfect response video, you're going to call me names thinking that you can expose the opposition, then at least try to not embarrass yourself in front of your own audience at the very beginning of the video. Embarrassing. But let's continue anyway.
What's interesting, and I mentioned this already, all these reports have a consistent method, meaning no single later narrator after Sa'id ibn Juhman adds or takes away from the significant details found in
Hold on. That's already
Yeah, it's too fast, bro. Slow it down.
Yeah. This one. It's because you sped it up also, it looks like, in this part. Let's see, go back. Here we go.
What's interesting, and I mentioned this already, all these reports have a consistent method, meaning no single later narrator after Sa'id ibn Juhman adds or takes away from the significant details found in the report. Rather, across all the witnesses, the method, the information, the content stays consistent, and we can date this back to the very least to the 1st century.
Now, this statement is...
What is he saying there? The meten is the content, right?
Yeah, the meten is the text. The meten is the text inside any hadith or report. That's what he's referring to.
It's just not true. The meten isn't consistent at all, and I'm going to prove it.
And everybody can take a look at their translation.
Abful, slow down. Should we not first check the grading of these hadiths in Musnad Ahmad? Could it be that it's da'if, and maybe even the text inside the hadith is completely rejected? You know very well that your gullible audience won't fact check you anyway. You just love to get spanked again by moi, don't you? Here are the 2 hadiths in Musnad Ahmad in volume 34, pages 55 to 58. We can find hadith 20:41-3 and 20:41-4, where Sa'id bin Jumhan is the narrator. And guess what? Both hadiths are da'if, weak. And they are weak because of the matan, munkar. And it says when Ahmad ibn Hanbal himself was asked about the narrator Sa'id bin Jumhan, Ahmad ibn Hanbal said, batil, it's false, unacceptable. The text is rejected. But of course, you never mentioned that and kept it hidden from your foolish and gullible audience. But what can we expect from a shameless deceiver like yourself, ya lesbiano, ya makir ibn makir?
What's interesting, and I mentioned this already, all these reports have a consistent method, meaning no single later narrator after Sa'id ibn Juhman adds or takes away from the significant details found in the report. Rather, across all the witnesses, the method, the information, the content stays consistent.
What a lie. Let me bury you one more time. Shu'aib al-Arnaout graded it as weak and said that the matan, the text, is rejected because of Sa'id bin Juman. And here is why. Sometimes Sa'id said he got it from Ibn Abu Bakr. And in another version, he said that he got it from Muslim bin Abi Bakr. And in another version, he said that he got it from Abdullah bin Abi Bakr. So he's all over the place and he seems to be confused which son of Abi Bakr he got it from. So we have 3 different identifications of his immediate source. What a mess. In Siyar A'lam al-Nubala by Imam al-Dhahabi, volume 3 on page 5, we read that Abu Bakr has 4 sons: Abdullah, Abdul Rahman, Abdul Aziz, and Muslim. As you see, these are 4 distinct individuals. And here's what makes it even more damaging. There's an inconsistent chain problem, and here is why. The original chain goes through Abdul Rahman bin Abi Bakr, but Sa'id's version decades later can't consistently identify whether he heard it from Muslim, Abdullah, or just leave it vague, Ibn Abi Bakr. So which son did you hear it from? This is a foundational problem. If you can't tell who your exact teacher is or whom you have heard it from, that's a foundational problem in hadith criticism. So how can we trust you?
He claimed they're not consistent because I had said in the previous video that I made that the mutun are consistent throughout the narrations. He said no.
Rob, is this what is the hadith that they're what is the
Yeah. So this is the so-called prophecy. So the main topic is the so-called prophecy about the Mongols invading Baghdad. Okay. Yet the matan, the text in the report, has all kind of problems. The narrator sometimes says, I got it from a person A. Sometimes he says, I got it from person B or C. You get that? It's
Yeah. The question I have right now is this the same prophecy the Korah is talking about with the flat-faced people with red? That's the same one. Okay.
So I refuted her bigger sister, Ducklips, because he's not a man. That's why I'm calling him sister. But she's using his own so-called prophecy that he got refuted and baked on. Why would you do that again? We buried this argument months and months ago.
Got it.
Did you catch it?
Yep. So it's graded weak. That's the takeaway so far.
Not even weak. It's rejected, bro. Forget about weak. It's completely rejected. So they are using a rejected source to give Muhammad a prophecy which he never had. It's a fabricated source.
All right. Should we keep going with this, or is there more meat on this bone?
It's on you, but you get the idea already. If you want to play a little bit more, just for the people to understand what's going on, because there's more.
Okay.
But
all right.
play like 2 minutes more, and then we're done, guys.
Okay.
Not consistent.
Of course, the mutun, the texts inside the hadith, are not consistent, and here is the proof. Is the city called Al-Basra or Al-Busayra? Muslims, pick your cherries. Ahmed 20451 says...
Hold on, brother Scary. Even the city name, figure out first what the city name is, because we have conflicting reports. Some reports say Busayra, some reports say Basra. Which one is it? Choose your flavor. Pick your cherries, Muslims. You see how problematic it becomes the more and more you take deep dives in this so-called prophecy.
Now, just to be fair, could that not be referring to the same city, Busayra and Busra?
Brother, if I call you Scary and someone else calls you Smary, are you the same person?
No.
No, thank you very much.
Sunan Abi Dawood says Al-Basra. And in Ahmed 20414, there is doubt because it says Al-Basra or Al-Busayra. Before claiming something to be a prophecy or let alone a fulfilled prophecy, Muslims need to figure out first what the correct name is for that city. Is this a prophecy or a comedy? Remember, it's a name. For example, is the guy's name Dan, Dun, or Don? No idea, right? What a mess. From now on, it will become even more worse and messier. Here's something else strange going on that crumbles and buries this entire so-called prophecy. Abu Bakr is from Basra, his sons are from Basra, Sa'id himself is from Basra. Conclusion, the hadith must be about Basra and not Baghdad. Remember, in 1258 AD, the Mongol hordes attacked Baghdad and not Basra, which is more than 340 miles away. As I said, the hadith talks about Basra that is under attack. The entire chain is from Basra, talking about Basra during a...
Okay, so you're saying even if it's Basra or Basayra, they didn't attack either one of those. They attacked Baghdad.
Remember, Ducklips hammers on, he's so sure about the siege of Baghdad. But this is Basra, which is hundreds and hundreds of kilometers away.
Okay, and there's nowhere
wrong
in
city,
Baghdad,
wrong location, you get the idea.
There's nowhere in Baghdad with a Basra or a Basiria or whatever.
These people are from Basra. They live in Basra.
They're from Basra,
and the so-called prophecy is about Baghdad. So the city is wrong, the location is wrong people. We don't know what is the actual name of the city. It's all over the place. They are all over the place. Continue for 1 minute and then it's enough.
This is in Basra. This is a Basran production from Basran sources for a Basran audience addressing a Basran crisis. So how is this about Baghdad? So how does this fulfill the so-called prophecy about Mongols attacking Baghdad, which is 340 miles away? Now the bridge details. Some narrations say a camp at the bridge called Dijla. Others say at the Dijla River with a bridge. And some don't even mention a bridge at all. Then the animals. One says tails of camels. Another one says tails of cattle. There's even a physical description change between the hadith variations. Some have broad faces and small eyes. Others only say broad-faced people with no mention of small eyes. These aren't minor word differences because they are contradictions in core details. Different city, setting, animals, and physical features. So Libyanus claim there is a consistent method.
You see how messed up the variations are between the different reports for the same so-called prophecy. Different people, wrong people, wrong location. Was there a bridge? Was there no bridge? What kind of animals?
By the way, Rob just got real technical with them, right? I'm not that generous. I'm flat out gonna tell you like this. So the Muslims, Asian people of conquest, are one day going to fight another Asian people, their neighbors. That's a prophecy? That's you're gonna fight your neighbors one day as you're trying to expand your empire. That's a prophecy. Get pathetic. How about when he said the hour wouldn't come? How about when he said the hour wouldn't come until the little boy from the Nasara was going to the little boy wasn't gonna grow old before the hour come. How about that prophecy? They ignore that one because it didn't come true.
Yeah. What about the other prophecy, Berlin, where Muhammad says that the hour will not come until the Romans will, be the biggest power. Brother Scary, Brother Berlin, do you see any Romans around you?
Nope.
There goes the prophecy. There are so many false prophecies that Muhammad gave.
And that's the thing, Rob, is that she's quoting it to say, the way she worded it was, the hour will not come until we fight a flat-faced people with squinty eyes or something like that. So if that happened, 1,400 years ago, are we still in the hour right now? Like that's what that's.
Yeah, where's this hour? This hour still hasn't got
here.
It's
a long hour. It's a long ass hour.
Bro, if you look at all of these so-called prophecies that Muhammad gave about the final hour, Muhammad truly believed that the final hour was very near, close to the 7th century. We're 1,400 years later, and no single prophecy was fulfilled about the hour. What does that tell you?
Right.
Hey, Bob, are you an ex-Muslim? Bob?
Rob, no.
Rob, I'm sorry, Rob, yes.
No, bro, no, never.
Oh, you're very knowledgeable on this stuff.
He's the destroyer of Sunni, bro. You gotta follow him. He's like top tier.
I only
nice.
started a couple months ago, I'm new to this stuff.
Nice.
Now he's lying. Now he's lying.
No, he's lying.
He's an Arabic-speaking Christian, though.
Years. Everybody's watched Rob for years on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's our teacher.
Who was doing this first, you or David, Rob?
David is longer in the field, but Brother David, don't get me wrong, he's the GOAT.
He's about to rag on
he has only one disadvantage. He doesn't know Arabic. I think David, if he would have known Arabic,
oh man, they would have been in trouble.
Brutal.
Yep.
And that's a big disadvantage. That's the thing, because they can use that card on them, and they do use it on them, left, right, and center. That's their favorite card to use, but they can't use that if you speak Arabic.
Let me tell you about Brother David, guys. Remember that huge live stream that we did the other day when basically the Avengers were assembled, when the Muslims started attacking our wives? Brother David Wood was there, I was there, Brother Jai, basically all the known warriors. Brother David Wood, before we went live on Brother God Logic Apologetics, his channel, because that's where the live stream happened. Go watch it, guys. Brother David Wood, before we actually went live, he had one request towards me. He said, Brother David Wood said to me, Rob Christian, I have one request. I said, what do you want, Brother David Wood? He said, please, if you're going to mention any hadith, specifically about the Zut and whatnot, and of course I mentioned the Zut, please bring the Arabic sources. That was his only request. And of course I did. I said, no problem, I will. And we had a field day with the Zut, and how Muhammad was raped not only by the Zut, but also by his cousin, his uncle, etc. It was fun, dude. Yeah.
That's tough.
Guys, if you want to laugh,
they don't know about that one,
read
Rob.
the explanation.
I don't think they know that story, Rob. You want to give that one to them with the uncle?
Let's not do it.
Save that one for a better day.
Yeah.
Guys.
If a Muslim comes up and he starts to insult and blaspheme, that's a different story. Maybe. But
I just want to say, no Muslims. Muslims need to stop saying that I'm lying. I didn't lie. They're like, oh, you lied about the Al-Zut. No, I didn't. It literally has a sexual connotation to it, and if it doesn't, then talk to Rob about it.
But Sister Brett, you were wrong about one thing. You said 30 shots, right? But guess what? It's thousands upon thousands. So you were wrong about the number. It's much worse.
True. You're right.
Wait, what kind of shots are we talking here? Like tequila shots, right?
Yeah, tequila shots, brother.
Tequila shots from min bafra.
So
you know what min bafra means?
Guys, if you're just tuning in, we're watching the debate review from Cliff and Stuart against some random evil people.
Rob, what do you guys say? Min bafra or min labara? How you guys say it? Where'd he go?
He steps away from his phone sometimes.
Oh, okay.
But yo, Scary, before you continue with this debate, there was a Muslim in your chat that brought up a good point. He said, imagine all the layman Christians that are going to watch this and get shubahat now. So literally their tactic is to plant doubtful seeds in Christians that are not going to look into.
Of course, they're right about that. That's why Cliff and his son shouldn't be doing these debates. They're doing us a disservice. They're doing Christianity a disservice. With all love and respect, they need to stay in their lane. That's why there's lanes.
Yeah.
Everything ain't for everybody.
Yeah, unfortunately, I hope people do hear these two, Cliff and Stuart. They're having a bad experience potentially. Honestly, they're still doing okay right now, but to this point. And I've watched a little bit longer than this. They're not doing too bad yet. I have to see where they actually go bad, but definitely know your lane. And if you see what happens here, if it goes left, then yeah, definitely learn from this experience. But
Scary, I got to this part where you're at right now, and I had to turn it off.
For real?
I know it got worse. I couldn't do it. I turned it off right here.
They're not, to me, they're not doing bad yet. I haven't seen anything crazy just yet. Obviously, they don't know when to call them out on certain claims. I guess that could be potentially bad, but.
No, you're right. They're not doing too bad yet, but I already seen the clips from later on.
All right, let's move forward here.
I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to give you $100,000. And let's say I get arrested in that very store. I go to jail for 3 days on the dot. Both of those events took place. That's going to raise the amount of trust that I have in your testimony. This happens in the Gospels, where the disciples see Jesus allegedly fulfilling prophecy, allegedly doing miracles and things of that nature. And for some reason, when it comes to his resurrection and his dying, okay, after the crucifixion, they were not consoling themselves. On the third day, they weren't waiting for Jesus. When the women came and testified that
argument
the
from
Messiah
silence
had
doesn't say
risen,
that.
they rejected the testimony. So if Jesus was truly doing these miracles, fulfilling these prophecies, and actively proclaiming that he was going to die and rise on the third day, then why do the disciples' actions over and over and over again, and their words over and over and over again, tell us otherwise? If the historical Jesus was preaching that he was going to atone for the sins of mankind, then why do we not see this behavior reflected everywhere in the Gospels and everywhere in the New Testament? The answer to that question is that he was not preaching that he was going to die and rise on the third day and he was going to put an end to sin sacrifice. Rather,
what a terrible argument that is, dude.
Jesus
straight
was
garbage.
Straight garbage, dude.
Not crucified.
How many times do we have Jesus say? He says, I have come to redeem this world, Mark 10:45.
No, but she's asking why they don't. Why she's asking, little dear, is not that Jesus didn't claim to say it or say it. It's just she's saying, why didn't the disciples have immediate, absolute, 100% unshaking faith in his statements? That's what she's saying.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. And we answered that earlier. It's because the resurrection solidified it all.
Yeah. It wasn't until that event. Yep.
Because he was not crucified, he did not resurrect, and rather it is the case that the Messiah was saved.
I don't think that's a valid argument.
You got 5 minutes if Libiano or Cora, you have anything else you want to leave with.
He muted. He don't even know. Decent says the way she came in, bro. You can tell they rehearsed this.
Yeah, you have 5
They're
minutes.
about to cook.
Oh, okay, sure.
They think so, huh?
So yeah, I want to just because I thought I had less time.
This is gonna be a hilarious debate, bro.
So yeah, for example, Cliff and Stuart will say, well, the disciples went to their death for preaching Jesus died and resurrected. This is false. There's not a shred of evidence for that. As a matter of fact, our earliest martyrdom tradition comes from 1 Clement, written in the year 95. And all it says is that Peter and Paul died. They went to their sleep. It doesn't say why. It doesn't say they were killed for preaching that Jesus died and rose again on the third day. It just says they were killed.
It doesn't say they died or that they were killed. It just says they were killed. Am I the only one tripping on that right now?
Bro, the camel juice was very high grade. You
Yo, they
know,
need to make a Gatorade called Camel Juice.
They need to look at the outside attestations for these martyrdoms. Paul, even in the book of Acts, talks about how he's hunting down the Christians. I mean, give me a break. It's even in our own scriptures.
I mean, dude.
Yeah, it's
I mean, dude,
who. Go ahead, brother.
I mean, if Muslim can get away with saying that Christian worship three gods, what's to say that they would not get away with this?
Right.
Because it's one simple question. If asking Christian, do you worship three or one? I'll tell you three. One, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's who is it? Is it Josephus that he clearly outlines in his history about the persecution of Christians during that time period. This is definitely attested to.
Yeah, the
what about Ignatius? Ignatius, who literally was a child, one of the children that Jesus said, you know, let them come to me. Did you know that Ignatius?
Oh, really?
The church father Ignatius. Yeah. So I mean, didn't he say, "Let me, I want to die for the sake of Christ"?
Yeah.
He is this not like immediately in the like first, second century?
Yeah.
He said fourth, right? He said fourth.
Yeah. So what he's
This
trying
guy
to
is a
do,
joke.
what he's trying to do here is he's trying to hold you to a super high standard where he's basically saying there's no specific evidence about each individual case. Right? And he's kind of right to a certain extent. There are some that are mentioned specifically by name of the disciples that got persecuted, but it doesn't matter if there's no specific case by case examples or evidence for it. There is evidence for a general persecution of Christians during that time period. That's known and widely attested to.
I wonder what happened to Stephen, but forget about Stephen.
Right, and that's if you
Outside
deny, right, and that's if you don't take the Bible, because the Bible does have specific case by case naming of people and their persecution. Stephen being one of them.
Bro, I think Stephen was simply hacked to death according to the clips.
Right.
Martyrdom stories are extremely late, and most of them come from some of them come from Tertullian, who's living in the second half of the second century, and Eusebius, who's way later. So all of these martyrdom stories are simple fabrications that come later. They're not attested early on.
This is the part that I'm hoping Cliff and Stuart are good on. I don't know what their answer is here, but I hope that they're good on this.
So no, we don't grant that the disciples went to their death for preaching such a thing. That's number
Hey, I
one.
had to get
Number
some
two,
chips
we
for this one, man.
have
Lock
a
in.
plethora of evidence that early on,
basically, guys,
there were multiple Christian factions. For example, the enemies of Paul, who had a different significant gospel, which Paul calls a false gospel. When he's writing a letter to the Galatian church, those people had a false gospel. What was that gospel? It didn't focus on the death of Christ. Hence why he says in Galatians chapter 3 that, why are you deserting the gospel that I'm giving you? Wasn't it clear that Jesus Christ was betrayed and crucified before your very eyes? Meaning that, well, the interpreters interpreted this two ways. Either some of them denied the cross, and most of them interpret this as they denied the implication, the theological significance of Paul's gospel, that Jesus died for our sins. He was an atonement for our sins. Rather, we have multiple independent attestation from the Didache, from the letter of James, from Q, from Thomas, from multiple early sources and documents that actually portray a different gospel, a gospel that is not centered around the death and resurrection of Christ. On the other hand,
Tripping out,
the
yo.
Prophet Muhammad's disciples went to their death.
You
For
hating
example,
chili cheese
Jabir
Fritos?
ibn
I haven't had these in a
Abdullah.
while, but they're buzzing.
So does anybody see an issue with what he's saying right now? Is this bringing up any
Yes.
shubha for y'all?
Yes, of course. He's complaining about everything being recorded after 200 years. Dude, you have the same.
No,
You have
he's
the
not.
same.
He's
How
not.
can
No. What he's arguing now is he's saying, why are there different narratives about why it is that Jesus had to die? Some people looked at it as he died for your sins, but some people were saying, no, he did die, but not for your sins. That's what he's arguing about right now.
No, at the beginning of his words, he started saying it was recorded after 200 years, so we can never take it for granted.
Yeah.
This is what, like, my trigger shot, because I'm ex-Muslim. I have no knowledge about Christianity. Maybe the Christians want to answer this.
Yeah.
Well, if he has a problem with oral tradition and church tradition, then he should throw his Quran under the bus and the Hadith under the bus. There goes Islam. You're not a Muslim anymore.
Yeah,
What's going on, Stuart?
I'm trying to figure out why wouldn't we expect there to be different ideas about why Jesus died? Why would that even be an issue? Some guy who you may or may not believe in, as we know, at the time of his death, there was only 12 quote or 11 quote unquote believers. Everyone else didn't know why he died, right? They may be hearing side stories about it, but why would there not be different
can
reasons?
you imagine? Scary, can you imagine if we held them to this standard? What would happen to Islam?
It would be nuts. It would be absolutely insanity.
We grant them so much. We're so generous with them, and look at the standard they would
But
hold.
Berlin, we
This
have
is
now
this
started
flow is
to.
extremely loud. I just want to say one thing.
Yep.
In regards to the Galatians, what he just said about Galatians, that like, oh, someone thought of another gospel and so on. So he's such a liar, man. The church fathers are very clear in that the reason he told the church of in the Galatians, the reason he told them, that Jesus was portrayed as crucified in front of you, he's making it seem like that's a different gospel. All that means is that he portrayed to them, he described to them, either wrote to them, whatever it is, as to what happened in the Old Testament. Since they weren't there at the cross, since they didn't understand the Old Testament, he just portrayed to them the entirety of the Old Testament, and he goes, why are you guys confused? Why have you guys left? I've clearly portrayed to you that Jesus was crucified.
Right. But what he's saying, he's not, that's usually how they use Galatians, which is they're saying, look, he didn't actually die. He was just portrayed as dying. He's not arguing that here.
But scary.
Did he
One
not
more
mention
important
Galatians?
detail. Remember, these are young churches, so they need the guidance of disciples like Paul, right? So Paul is writing these letters to put them, on the straight path. So don't make those mistakes. So he's correcting them. It is not. We're not talking about different gospels. We're talking about, first church. A first church, let's say, in those parts of or in these cities. So he's only sending them letters to just
correct them.
Be sure. Correct them. Don't make that mistake. So we're not talking about different gospels. He's only sending them letters for them to not make mistakes. And glory to Christ, the message is still intact. Nothing happened. Correct. There's no corruption. There's no different gospel. So this guy is literally lying. This guy has no honor. He's no shame. Shame on you.
I just want to make sure, though, that everybody does understand there wouldn't be no issue for me anyway to see people having a different understanding of the meaning of the death of Christ, right? I don't see why that would be an issue.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you mean by that? Can you explain it?
Yeah, because again, remember, the people are trying to see, is Jesus actually divine, right? So then he gets unalived, right? And then that automatically, some people took that as a negation of his divinity. They were like, oh, he died, so I guess it wasn't him. So then, I don't know who saw him actually resurrect or how widespread that narrative went in the moment. But I'm sure some people would have been like, no, I don't know if he was actually resurrected. Maybe somebody looked like him at that point, or we got tricked into thinking that. Of course, people are going to doubt these things, so I would expect different narratives. I just hope, Caleb, are you with me on that part, though? Like that he's not talking about the made to appear part, or made it was
I think he's trying to fit that in. Is that what you're saying? Like, is he trying to these Muslims are always trying to fit in everything.
Yeah, he's trying to address
to their narrative. Yeah.
This is the way he's wording it. He's saying Paul is obviously upset with somebody, saying like, "You foolish Galatians, like did we not portray Christ to you?" So he's saying, obviously there's someone disagreeing with Christ being crucified because Paul's rebuking those people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, the faith was young. He was teaching them. There was still debates going on. There was still different narratives. This was in the very beginning. The faith hadn't quite got established the way it is now. Right. These guys want to hold the first century church to the 2026 standards of theology. Idiotic.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. These were people who are babes in the faith. So there's no issue to send them letters to know the correct message.
Yeah, so if anything, I think you could look at this as more evidence for the resurrection, because maybe what people are trying to reconcile in their own mind is, how the hell did we see this guy alive 3 days later? You
That's
get what I'm
right,
saying?
Scary. That's right.
Yeah.
How the hell is he alive? If you're saying he was crucified, then it's easy just to say, oh, maybe he wasn't crucified. And Paul's like, are you dumb?
Yeah.
We all saw him get crucified. What are you talking about? You get what I mean?
That's a great point. That's
And
a
not
great
just
point.
that,
That
like
is
the
more
Old
evidence.
Testament. Yeah, and the Old Testament as well. Like these people either were taught the Old Testament or knew it. So he was basically like, "What are you guys doing, man? Like I already showed you everything in the Old Testament. I showed you everything in the Scripture. You're foolish for not seeing what I'm showing you." But I just want to say one last thing in terms of Peter and Paul. He's so freaking deceptive, man. Like as if that these people wrote, right? Whether it be this earliest source that he said that they just went to sleep, whatever, as if they were writing so that we can debate it in 2026, right? They need every last detail. Like most.
By
of
the
this,
way,
most
Kay,
of
he
this-
would never pull this. He would never pull these arguments with us, with you, with Rob, with me. He would never pull this. He pulled this
Of
on
course.
Cliff because he
Of
knows.
course. That's why he's all rhetoric. His rhetoric pushes the conversation in one direction, so you can't even consider and think all the other aspects. You know, it's he's so damn deceptive. Bro.
Let's get a Muslim perspective here real quick. Lois, what you got to say, Lois? Bro's walking.
Hey, Paul saw the grave. That's why he's
Dogs
telling people,
are haram.
Hey,
Black
did
dogs
you?
are haram, brother.
Bro got a
bro.
dog and a black dog
That's
at
black
that.
one, a Chihuahua. Look at
Chihuahua haram, brother.
They trigger. Look at that. Look at cute toes too. Look at that.
Jibril ain't never
So
coming back.
Paul saw the grave.
Jibril ain't never coming
Paul saw
back.
when the grave was empty, and that's why he's telling people, "Oh, the grave was empty. Were you bewitched?"
Jibril running for dear life. He's
Bro,
never
your
coming
biggest
back.
blunder, right?
What's your issue right now, Lois?
That's
That you saying that Paul didn't see the
biggest
grave?
Bible blunder.
Brother, you're not even a real Muslim. You're not practicing Islam. Your prophet
As he's
said,
walking his
a
black
black
dog.
dog
Why
is
do
the
they
devil.
talk about dogs in the 18th chapter, stupid?
Bro, it's like literally Muhammad said, "Don't get a black dog," and that's exactly the dog he went to get.
Bro, Muhammad is turning upside down in his grave because of this guy having a tiny little black dog. Unbelievable.
You know Muhammad would unalive a black dog as soon as he sees it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, guys. I mean, so what's his issue there, guys? Anything you want to respond that Paul didn't see the grave? What do you guys want to say about that, Christians?
What do we have to say about what?
He said that Paul didn't see the grave. That's what he's asking.
Paul didn't see the grave. He's asking.
He's like, how can Paul be so convinced of the resurrection if Paul didn't himself witness the empty tomb?
Yeah, it's called Christ came to him in person. Ask Muhammad how he knew Jibril was giving him the revelation in the cave.
Also, Paul said that there were at least 500 witnesses, so I'm sure he spoke to them, and he spoke to the apostles as well.
That's the point.
Christ literally came to him. Christ came to him in person.
Yeah. So this is the weak point that they try to point out, is that there was only basically one or two girls who went to the grave, right? Who was it? Was it Mary Magdalene?
Yeah, she was the first one, and that's a big point because at that time, day and age, a woman's testimony wasn't really looked at. So if someone was making this part of the Bible up, they would never put that there.
Right. So the point, this is what Corey was trying to bring out earlier, is if Jesus Christ had prophesied his death 3 days later, why didn't everybody go to see 3 days later? Why was it just the two girls? Or the
because they were frightened. Because they were absolutely frightened, brother. We just had the entire government unalive someone by crucifixion in the worst event in a long time. So they were locked into their upper room because they were afraid of getting unalived. Everything, like you can't see everything. You can't look at everything in hindsight. Like at the time, they were freaking frightened. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's literally what was going on. Isn't there a scene where somebody pointed out Peter when they saw him? They're like, "Wait, isn't he one of his disciples?" Like trying to snitch on him, get him arrested.
Correct.
Right.
That's when he.
That was
that's
me.
when
I
he
brought
denied
up
him
the
3
3-time
times.
denial.
Mm-hmm. So at that point, you could see they're terrified. They're the Roman authorities. You got guys with spears and like walking around looking for people who are followers of Jesus. Of course, they're hiding and not. They don't want to be seen. They're not going to go to the grave so early in this situation. You get what I'm saying? Because they feel like they're being looked for. They feel like they're being hunted at that point.
Correct. And by the way, keep something else in mind. When Mary Magdalene went and when John and Peter went to the grave, they only went because they thought it was stolen. And Mary Magdalene was outside of the tomb. I think this is the gospel. I can't remember which gospel, honestly, but Mary Magdalene was outside of the tomb weeping and grieving her Lord until she appeared to him. Until he appeared to her and told her, what he told her. And then she found out that he was alive. Outside of that, she was genuinely grieving someone who had just died and thought that his body was stolen,
Yeah.
He fought in 19 battles with the prophet, risked his life in 19 battles. This is the man who says that the prophet multiplied food and water before his very eyes.
The prophet multiplied
And
food
he
and
also
water.
attests to the fact that he made
Hey, that's a joke, bro. They steal everything. These guys steal everything. The prophet multiplied food and water, Jack. I wonder where they got that from.
He had 2 fish and 3 loaves of bread, and he multiplied.
Holy moly. These guys
sounds
steal
familiar,
everything in sight. You can't leave no medals around the Muslims. You got to take all the medals out the walls. They're going to steal everything.
So this is the one thing here, right? He's trying to say that the martyrdom, quote unquote, of the Muslims proves that Muhammad was a prophet and that he had miracles that they all saw it, and that's why they did it.
Well, actually, no, because you know what? This proves that Muhammad's legacy, the legacy of Muhammad was nothing but a bloodthirsty legacy. Imagine, brother, Scary, and this is a very important point.
Yep.
What would the Muslims say about us if immediately after the death of our Lord and Savior, in this case,
yep,
let's say John would have attacked Matthew or to try to unalive him.
Yep.
Literally, that's what happened with the Sahaba of Muhammad. Immediately after the death of Muhammad, not only did almost all the Muslims started to apostatize, knowing that Muhammad is dead, we should not be afraid. Then, if it wasn't because of Abu Bakr, Islam would have ceased to exist with his Ridda wars, right? The apostasy
Went for each
wars.
other's throats immediately.
And on top of that, you had 2 major battles: the Battle of Siffin and the Battle of the Camel. The first one was the Battle of the Camel. It was between Aisha and Ali. Around 30,000 Muslims died in the Battle of the Camel, and on the other side, the other battle, the Battle of Siffin, around 60,000 was also, let's be generous, around 80 to 90,000 Muslims died after the death of Muhammad. Muslims unaliving Muslims. So what do you mean martyrdom? What do you mean this proves Muhammad that he's a prophet? Actually, it proves that Muhammad was a bloodthirsty warlord. That's what it proves.
and I try to maybe Rob or anybody else who wants to add a little bit more context here. This verse right here to me is so. I think we need to stress this, right? And tell me if I'm exaggerating or if I'm stretching this too much. But when Muhammad kicked out the polytheists from Mecca, they lost their entire economy, right?
Yeah, the Muslims lost their entire economy, and they started to cry to Muhammad, our markets are going to be closed. Yeah, Muhammad, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Muhammad said, don't worry, be happy. I have a solution, and the solution is chapter 9:29, jizya. We're going to steal the money from the Jews and the Christians.
So
force jizya on them.
Yeah, so they didn't have a choice but to go out and fight.
Yep.
Right?
The only job of the Muslims, guys, the only job of a Muslim is to be a shmerorist. That's it.
And not to mention now, they're also promised if you go out and fight and plunder, you get money, you get power, you get women, you get slaves.
And you get paradise. Guaranteed.
And you get paradise if you die.
111.
Yeah.
And read 111. So ayah 111, same chapter.
Yeah, Allah makes a business transaction.
Yeah.
9111?
Yeah, Allah is going to buy. Allah is going to do business, right?
Okay, and it says, Allah indeed purchased from the believers their lives and wealth in exchange for paradise. They fight in the cause of Allah and killed or are killed. This is a true promise binding him on the Torah, the gospel, and the Quran, and whose promise is truer than Allah. So rejoice in exchange you have made with him. Yeah.
Jihad li sabil Allah until Yawm al-Qiyamah, until the day of judgment. Jihad li sabil Allah until Yawm al-Qiyamah.
And who did Allah purchase from? Who did Allah pay money or bribe?
the other Allah that had their business next to him. They got to stand next to each other.
But again, guys, I think we have to stress the fact that, and again, I don't know how much of this I'm exaggerating, but my understanding is that the entire economy of Mecca was the
Yes, no exaggeration at all. That's no exaggeration.
There was
at
no
all.
economy. No economy. The only economy is jizya.
Right, but so he says here, "O believers, the polytheists are unclean, so do not let them come to the sacred mosque after this year." And then he literally addresses their concern. If you fear poverty, meaning if you fear poverty from kicking these people out from doing this, then Allah will have to enrich you out of His bounty. And then the very next verse, go and fight Christians and Jews until you make them pay the jizya.
Yep, the mafia protection money. Exactly.
Right, and then he says literally, then he says in verse, I think 120 or 130 or something like that, he says, fight those adjacent to you. And the scholars say from the nearest land to the farthest, right?
And if you go to Ayah 49, we know where they're going to get the money from the Christians, from the Roman Empire, the yellow ones. If you go to the tafsir, open Ibn Kathir, brother. Open Ibn Kathir for 949. Let's read it. About the yellow ones.
Yeah, so this is a concept which is like a war tactic, which is it's called burn the boats, if I'm not mistaken, right? You burn the boats because you basically give yourself no way to, like, you can't escape but to move forward and fight. So when he kicked out the polytheists from Mecca, that's like a form of burning the boats. They now needed to go out and fight people to get money.
Yeah, and even in the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, it mentions that there's one of the companions of Muhammad was a known womanizer. He loved women and specifically raping them. Yeah. So Muhammad tells him, come with me. Yeah. We're going to get the yellow ones, the blondies. You can have as much as you want. The guy says, but please, ya Muhammad, oh Rasulullah, I don't want to go because if I see the yellow ones, the blondies, I'm going, oof, baby, right. Then Muhammad says, okay, stay behind, don't go. But he calls him a hypocrite.
Yeah.
For not doing it, for not graping the yellow ones.
Doesn't he eventually go though? I thought he eventually went, like because of the enticement of getting women. I thought read
the tafsir is very clear, bro.
Which verse did you want me to go to?
About 949.
949.
Can I ask a quick question to Rob after this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Ask me,
all right, Rob. There's a story with Muhammad's servant. His name begins with an H, that he was unalived by the Romans, and they're saying that this is their justification for starting the war against the Byzantines or something like that. Like he sent a servant with a letter, Hytham or something like that, and then. So what's the story around that? Because I have too much.
So supposedly he goes there and he gets unalived. The Romans supposedly they make fun of Muhammad and they send him, they unalive him and etc. But the whole thing is a fabrication. To be honest with you, the whole thing is a fabrication.
So the way, and I've looked into this a little bit too, Kay, and the only thing that I see, there's a huge issue with this story because for one, you only have basically Muslim sources for this story, right? So obviously they're gonna romanticize it a little bit. But even in the romanticized version, you can go look at these letters. They're in the hadiths for the letters that Muhammad was sending out. You can see one that he sent out to Heraclius. And even in their version, it's a threat. He says, if you become a Muslim, I can guarantee your safety. If you don't, I won't guarantee your safety.
It literally says Aslim Taslim. You know what it means.
Yeah.
So was the person unalived after they received the letter?
Of course.
Or before? Oh, yeah. After. Okay, there's such liars.
So it's literally the scene of 300K. You remember 300?
Bro read the letter and then unalived them.
Yeah, you remember the 300? Remember in 300 where the messenger went to what was the guy's name?
Oh my God, you're right. You're right. That is the same exact scene.
It's the same thing. The messenger went and he gave him a threat. He's like, all you have to do is accept the Persian emperor and your life will be spared. And what was the guy's name?
They cut him in half right there and then.
No, that was the guy that they kicked him into the well. And he said, "This is Sparta," and he threw him into the well.
Oh yeah. They kicked him into the
well. This is what Muhammad was doing. He was sending letters out to the Roman emperors who were like, "What the hell? Who are you guys? Just some dudes in the sand, and you're coming to threaten me." And even like I said, in their letter, when Muhammad said, I can promise you your safety if you become Muslim, and I won't promise your safety if you don't, you can see the guy literally responded. Heraclius literally says, I can see that that if I don't accept your terms, that you will become like the ruler of the ground beneath my feet. He literally answered, that was his answer. So he knew it was a threat. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because they made it seem, the two Muslims that I talked to literally made it seem like, on his way to the Romans, he was unalived. I'm like, how the hell does that make any sense?
Hell
And then we looked at the letter, and it says,
And literally, guys, even these letters, remember, this is like circular, right? It's a circular, because even these letters are nothing but forgeries.
They are forgeries. Yeah, they are
This
forgeries.
is from the Sira, isn't this from the Sira?
It's also in the Hadith. There is a Hadith of him. Like we could. I think it's in Bukhari, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you can see there are romanticized. It basically says that the guy wanted to worship Muhammad there on the spot. That definitely wouldn't have happened in reality. But you can see it's a threat. The guy's threatening him, so you would expect some of the messengers to get unalive for these letters. But yeah, so I just wanted to point
By
that
the way,
out.
there's also a letter. Supposedly, it has Muhammad's hand on it and whatnot in the monastery at the foot of the Saint Catherine in Egypt. Also, that one is a forgery, actually created by the Christian monks to protect themselves from the Muslim army.
Yeah, there is no evidence that any letter, because they actually use that letter as like the evidence for the existence of Muhammad, but that's a forgery. It's already been.
You know why it's a forgery, Scary?
No.
It has literally on that document. It has minarets. Guess when minarets started to appear in Islam?
What's a minaret?
Much later, after the death of Muhammad.
What's a minaret?
That's that thing what they have. These towers that they scream from. That are close to the mosque.
Okay.
Those are the minarets. Yeah. So they did not. They were not even built in the 7th century. They came much later in history.
Yeah. So just be aware that those are forgery letters. So just everybody knows that.
Yep.
All right. So let's keep going.
Married a 9-year-old.
Be able to substantiate that anything actually goes back to the mouth of the apostles. We can substantiate that all these reports of eyewitness testimonies go back to the disciples of the prophet using isnadical meta-analysis.
They can substantiate it using isnad based on a bunch of names a bunch of Muslims made up. Yeah. Great substantiation. The Muslims made up a bunch of names.
Even Bukhari uses rejected narrators, by the way. We had a field day with it the other day.
Yeah. And no scholars accept isnad methodology. No Western scholars accept that. It's a joke.
Only Islamic. Only Muslim sources.
Right.
More to say, but I'd like to give Cora the rest of the time. Maybe she wants to.
Cora, you have 2
How
minutes.
much time we got?
You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right.
No,
Take it, Cora.
I'm good. I think.
Oh, you're good. Okay.
So-
all right. So I'll just continue. I just want to respect everybody's time.
I'll just keep rambling.
That's one. Number two, they're gonna try to run Isaiah 53. They're not gonna be able to, unfortunately, today. Isaiah 53 is about Israel. I challenge anybody to try to substantiate
What a
Jesus.
liar.
Bro, this is what we were talking about the other day too. Isaiah 53 being about Israel. Kay, I specifically want to hear your answer about this, if you don't mind.
I can't talk. I can't talk for the next 2 minutes. So.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll talk after.
Yeah.
Get your ass back to work, boy.
So the only thing I want to say here is I don't get where Muslims get this idea that a prophecy only has to be fulfilled once, or that it can only be applied to one person and never to anybody else. And I hope we're all on the same page about that.
Bro, this Lipsiano, Duck Lips, he literally uses the arguments of the Jews. He goes, like, for example, to Tobias Singer's website. He learns from him, and he uses literally Jewish interpretation for Isaiah that we have already refuted countless of times. This is nothing new.
He uses the Jews' argument for Isaiah. He uses the atheist arguments to discredit Josephus and crucifixion sources. These guys go around borrowing arguments from everybody and their mother to try to refute Christianity. They need atheists, they need Jews, they need everybody under the sun to try to refute the truth. But you can't refute the truth, goofy. It's the truth.
Right. So just to reiterate what I always say about these verses is Isaiah is absolutely about Isaiah. Isaiah is speaking in the first person about himself. In Isaiah 61, for example, he says, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me to like proclaim freedom for the captives." That was Isaiah speaking in the first person about himself, about the freedom that he was proclaiming for the Israelites from Babylon. Yes.
Yeah, it's a foreshadow. It's a foreshadow,
Correct.
just like Melchizedek was a foreshadow.
Correct.
But
Correct.
they don't have the IQ necessary to grasp these things. It's either
Correct.
black or white for them.
Correct. Now the thing is that Jesus himself, if I'm mistaken, it's in Luke 4. He literally grabs that verse. He grabs that verse and he says, "This is about me now." And nobody had an issue with it. Why? Because I want to say it's midrash, or what's the other M thing that the Jews have is
the Mishnah.
Mishnah, I think it is. Yeah. I think it's Mishnah, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a form of prophecy that Jews have always practiced, which is I literally asked a Jew the other day, what is Mishnah? And his actual wording was, I wouldn't use this wording, but the way he said it was, you can take a prophecy, you could take a verse in the Old Testament and make it into a prophecy without using any context, like an out of context prophecy is what he said. This is how a Jew explained it. So this is what they do. They take stuff that is not necessarily written as a prophecy and they just can turn it into a prophecy. And you can see basically Jesus was doing the same thing in a sense. Okay. So I just want everybody to know, I hope you guys will understand that, yes, it is about Isaiah at face value, but they interpreted it as a prophecy. So you could say that it's a typology. Isaiah became a typology or a type, or Jesus became a type. It's a foreshadow or a typology. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just like Melchizedek was a foreshadow.
Just like everything. And that's the thing. That's the takeaway is Muslims are looking for something that is written as a prophecy, like saying something is going to happen in the future. Not every prophecy in the Bible is like that. Some of them are, some of them are not. Like I always say, like the lamb. There's nothing telling you in the Bible that the lamb is a prophecy, but they interpreted it as that later. The lamb became a prophecy or a foreshadow for Jesus.
And you know what? Like, if they were very explicit, like if God was like, "Oh, I will have a son and he will be a sacrifice for you," then what do you think is going to happen? People are going to stage fake sacrifices. So obviously, it even says in the New Testament that the prophets before they didn't fully understand what they were prophesying. Like these things are hidden for a time because otherwise people are just going to try to stage them.
Fantastic point.
Exactly.
That's a fantastic point, actually.
Guys, one more point. The awkward and the embarrassing thing is that literally Jesus in the gospel says, Moses wrote about me. Orthodox Ducklips and modern day Muslims, they will say, no, Jesus lied. Moses wrote about Muhammad, for example, in Deuteronomy 18:18. Yet Jesus says, it's all about me. Moses wrote about me.
Yep.
No, we love Jesus more than you.
They love Jesus more than us.
But he's a liar, though. Jesus lied.
Yeah. When it suits them, they love him more than us and respect him more than us. And when it suits them, he died on a stick and he's a liar. Yeah, exactly.
And he's a liar. God forbid. Utter blasphemy.
And if they
demons,
the problem that they have is that they also believe in the Messiah. But I bet you they couldn't tell you which prophecies are applied to prove that Jesus was the Messiah from the Old Testament. Right? Because the ones that we do use to show that he was the Messiah, they're like, oh, no, that's about Isaiah. That's not about Jesus. Okay, so then what prophecies do you have that are about Jesus to prove your own Messiah? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you should ask him that. You should ask him that one day.
You know what I mean? and then like Sister said, Apostle, I forgot the Apostle Paul who, but he said the law is only a shadow of the things that are coming. Right? That's kind of weird because you wouldn't normally read a law in the Old Testament and take that as a foreshadow. Right? But
God has been using these foreshadows since the very beginning. If you read the Old Testament, it all connects. God's been using foreshadows since the very, very beginning in every single book of the Bible.
Yep. Like brother said about Melchizedek. Melchizedek is literally mentioned 2 times with like 2 sentences in the whole Bible. It just randomly appears to Abraham and blesses him with bread and wine. Never to
no
be heard
genealogy,
of
no genealogy, no parents.
Mm-hmm.
We heard about him then, and we never heard about him other than the time that
Psalms,
in the Psalms King David wrote about him.
Right.
He was a foreshadow figure of Christ. That was his only purpose.
So, but Muslims don't understand that.
They're gonna fail miserably, with all due respect. They're gonna go to Malachi. Everything they have for Jesus is flimsy, ad hoc, typology taken out of context. That's why Matthew has Jesus ride 2 donkeys. That's why Jesus has to strip verses out of context, make up passages.
Yeah, it's flimsy. That's why it stood the test of time and stood up to scrutiny for over 2,000 years now. And Islam has been standing up to scrutiny for maybe 10, 20 years, and it's already fallen apart. Yeah, it's flimsy. It's real
Also,
flimsy.
Berlin,
just like
you
the
know,
prophecies.
Berlin, he just said something so embarrassing about the 2 donkeys. This Jahil ibn Jahil, this Hmar ibn Hmar doesn't know. He's talking about donkeys, but with all due respect to the actual donkeys, this guy is a donkey, and I'm not trying to harm or insult any animal in the process when I'm calling him a donkey. But if he knows what the text is talking about, we're talking about a young donkey, and the other donkey was brought, because we have a young donkey, probably the mother of the donkey. That's why we're talking about two donkeys. If you know about little donkeys, then you should not bring this up, you little donkey. Orthodox ducklets. But anyway. Yeah, Afur, Ibn Yafur.
Called the Nazarene when that doesn't exist. And
But again, this just shows to me it's not that it's flimsy evidence. It's just that you're coming from a paradigm where you were expecting something else. Like he's like, oh, what do you have, typologies? Yes, this is how Jewish people always made prophecies, through typologies. But you guys were expecting a different type of prophecy. And so since you didn't get what your expectation was, that just proves your ignorance. Right? Same thing with the Torah and the gospel. You thought it was supposed to be a book that fell out of the sky. The Christians and the Jews never thought that. And so you're like, oh, we don't want this book that is actually just, man-made records of what they saw. We want the one that fell out of the sky. Where's that one? And then we're like, we never had that.
There's a Hebrew in Isaiah 11, it says the word Netzar, and that sounds a little bit too close to Nazarene. So maybe there's a connection there. You have to go through so many loops to try to show that a dying, rising Messiah is in the Old Testament.
That's the other thing here. So oral tradition, I think, is being overlooked here. He's saying, oh, there's a prophecy in the New Testament that says that the Christ would be a Nazarene, but you can't find that in the Old Testament. Okay, maybe that was one of the oral traditions that never made it into the book. So what?
Sorry, is this like... Oh, yes, YouTube. I thought you were live with them. Okay.
Okay, so there's about 50 seconds if you want to leave with anything, but it seems like we can move on to Cliff.
Yo, I swear they had 2 minutes, like 20 times now.
Okay, so Cliff and Stuart, let me reset the timer. You have 15 minutes for your introduction, and then we can get into the back and forth.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us about this most important issue. The reason that I think Christ is so crucial to seriously consider is, first of all, because of what he claimed to be. He claimed to be God in human form. In John 8:58, Jesus says, before Abraham was born, I am. And there was no misunderstanding with the Jews. They picked up stones to stone him for blasphemy. At the trial of Christ in Matthew 26, we read how Caiaphas stands up, looks at...
What about the Battle of Camel? Was that a prophecy? It was fought outside Basra in 656.
Rob, you want to address that?
Sorry, I did not catch that. Repeat it one more time.
He said, what about the Battle of the Camel? Somebody just sent a super chat asking that. He said, what about the Battle of the Camel? Was that a prophecy? It was fought outside Basra in 656.
Battle of the Camel happened between Aisha and Ali. What?
So that's what it was?
I think the super chatter doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
That's what it is.
The Battle of the Camel happened between Aisha and Ali, the cousin of Muhammad, the wife of Muhammad, the baby bride of Muhammad, and Ali, his cousin. That was the first fitna, as they call it.
Yeah, is he saying Muhammad prophesied the fitna wars? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, Muhammad prophesied that his own disciples, his own Sahaba, would be unalived by the same disciples.
That was a sick
Very
prophecy.
good prophecy, brother.
Yeah, that was a
Very
good one.
major good, brother. It's a very good prophecy, brother.
Thank you for the super
So
chat.
wait,
Send
just
another
to
one.
clarify, I just need clarification. Muslims think that these biblical prophecies refer to Muhammad?
Yeah, that's their latest copy.
Some of
They've been
them,
using
some
some
of them
of
do
them.
think that. Yeah, some of them do think that. Yeah,
But
They are
I
so
said this
bankrupt.
before.
They are so
I said this
bankrupt. They are so
before.
desperate.
Yeah,
Now,
I
you
said
might
it.
ask why are they doing that? Because if they don't try to find a prophecy that is fulfilled about Muhammad, supposedly or so-called prophecy about Muhammad in the Old Testament, for example, or even in the New Testament, then Allah lied in the Quran in chapter 61, ayah 6, for example, and also chapter 7, ayah 157. So Allah is a liar. Islam is false. So that's why
I
they're
said
so
this
desperate to find it.
before. I said this before, and I'll say it again because I want everyone to hear it again. God's covenant is through Abraham and Sarah, and not through a one-night stand with his side chick.
Oh man.
I
No
just wanna-
comment.
brother. I want to ask this guy who super chatted if he wants to give a clarifier, because that is kind of the Battle of the Camel. It was a fitna war, right?
Yep, the first fitna they call it.
If you want to.
And fitna means basically corruption in the land. For the people who don't know what fitna means, corruption in the land. So corruption by Muslims, to Muslims, and many horrible things happen there. And
The
even the
biggest
entire
corruptors.
family of Muhammad were either poisoned or unalived. Even a baby was unalived by Muslims. It's big fat mess.
So, brother, if you want to add a follow up to your question, go ahead. You don't have to super chat if you don't want to. Just ask the question and we'll ask it again. All right, let's keep going.
Christ and says, listen, the conversation's been a little confusing. I demand of you, are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? And Jesus says, I am. And he says, you'll see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And Caiaphas tears his mantle and says, gentlemen, what more evidence do we need? You've heard this man's blasphemy. What is your decision? And they condemned him guilty, deserving death. So unmistakably, Jesus claimed to be God. Secondly, he unmistakably died on a cross. No question about it. The overwhelming amount of scholarship, even that scholarship that does not believe in Christ, asserts the fact that Jesus died on a cross. Obviously, the difficult question is, did he really rise from the dead? If you do not allow for a supernatural God, then it's impossible that Christ rose from the dead. But that's a philosophical presupposition. If you allow for a supernatural God, then it's totally reasonable that this supernatural God could become a human being, die on a cross for the sins of the world, and then 3 days later rise from the dead. But obviously, the real disagreement between you and me is, who are we going to trust? Are we going to trust Muhammad to give us a reliable picture of Jesus? And obviously, Muhammad had a great deal of respect for Jesus. Muhammad obviously believed that Jesus was born of a virgin, that he lived a sinless life, that he ascended to heaven, that he's coming back a second time. That's more than the typical American believes about Jesus. But where
Cliff was blazing Muhammad.
contradicts Christ
He had to include him.
is regarding the identity of Christ. For repeatedly in the Quran we read, Jesus is not God, but he is a good prophet. But in the
I think it's just
Gospels, we
Islam versus
no,
Christianity.
Jesus claimed to be God, accepted worship from Thomas after his resurrection, claimed to be able to forgive people of their sins, and was accused of blasphemy and crucified for it. So now the question becomes, who are we going to trust? Are we going to trust Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who lived in the first century, who were eyewitnesses of Christ, not Luke, but Luke knew Peter very well and the other apostles, but Matthew, Mark, and John were eyewitnesses in the first century, giving us this reportage of Jesus? Or are we going to trust a guy who was born 540 years after Jesus? Obviously, he never met Jesus. Obviously, he never talked with Jesus. Are we going to trust him to be our primary source of information about Jesus? You see, guys, it's an historical question. What is the historical truth? I'm sorry, but every time that I want to find out about an historical person, I don't
Here's how we took our client Jared from just getting a few thousand views a month on social media to being...
Bro, I've blocked this commercial so many times and they keep showing it to me.
Who lived 540 years after the fact to be my primary source of information. No, I want the eyewitness accounts. And Matthew, Mark, John, Peter, and James were all eyewitnesses. They write in the New Testament, and clearly they insisted Jesus claimed to be God, he really died, and we really saw him risen from the dead. So it comes down to historicity, historical reliability. A second point, the greatest miracle of Islam is the book, the Quran. The greatest miracle of faith in Christ is not the Bible, it's the person, Jesus of Nazareth. What do you want to trust in, ultimately? A book? Or are you going to trust in the personal God who revealed himself by becoming man in Jesus of Nazareth?
Yeah, I like this point here. He's saying the miracle of Christianity is not the Bible. It's Jesus. The miracle of Islam is supposedly some preserved book that had to get burnt 3 times.
Here was the center of Islam in the 6th century and 7th century. Mecca. Where's the center of Islam today? Mecca. Where was the center of Christianity in the 1st century? Jerusalem. Then it migrated up to Antioch. Then it went down to North Africa. Oh my goodness, those poor Christians in North Africa. What happened to them at the hands of the Muslims? Not a pretty picture, guys. So the center of Christianity then migrated up to Eastern Europe, then it moved over to Western Europe, then it moved to the United States, and now today, where's the center of Christianity? Africa, Asia, and South America. I find that incredible. For we read in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. The center of Islam has always been Mecca. The center of Christianity moves around the world. Jesus is not for one race. Jesus is not for one people group. Jesus is for the entire world. What I find interesting is, in Islam, if I'm really going to get in touch with the miracle of Islam, which is the Quran, I'm going to have to learn Arabic. I am consistently confronted by my Muslim friends who say, I'm sorry, Cliff, you don't read Arabic, so you can't really understand the Quran. I'm sorry, that's highly questionable. The New Testament was written in Greek. The Old Testament was written in Hebrew. It's been translated into languages around the world. You don't have to speak Greek or Hebrew in order to get to know Christ. And then another real difference between Muhammad and Jesus, although they shared many similarities, and I have great respect for Muhammad, but I worship Jesus Christ, is that Muhammad came with a sword. I'm sorry, that's an historical fact. Muhammad used the sword, and Islam has often spread due to the sword.
I wonder if they're going to do cross exams or what.
When Christians have used the sword to promote Christianity, they are hypocrites. Because Christ
This
called
is
us to
true,
turn the
straight
other
line.
cheek,
The double
told us to
standard
love even our
is
enemies.
double.
But when my Muslim friends use the sword, they are not contradicting the Quran.
Muslims take for granted
Not
too,
contradicting
possibly
the way
met.
Muhammad
Therefore,
lived
Jesus and
his
Paul
life.
met.
He participated in at
clearly
least
met.
27 military campaigns, probably more than that.
Chat, who you think's
And
gonna
a lot of
win? Who you
people
think's
were
gonna
killed.
win? Let me know in the comments. Who you think's gonna win?
What is the only guarantee in Islam that you will definitely go to heaven? It's called dying in jihad. Watch out. Be very careful. And what is the goal of Islam? It's a totalitarian, utopian worldview. It basically says you've got to convert everybody in the world. We're all going to come under Islam, and then we're going to have Muslim rules, Muslim laws. Jesus Christ did not come with a sword. He came with a towel to serve, and he respects human free will, and he respects the human ability to think and to use the rational minds that God has given us to think clearly and objectively. So those are some of the reasons that I think that it's very wise to respect and to put your faith in Jesus Christ. The grave of Muhammad is full. He died, and his grave is full. I respect him for his emphasis on give alms to the poor, pray 5 times a day, monotheistic religion. I respect all of that highly, and I appreciate that tremendously. But the grave of Jesus Christ is empty. It is the historical resurrection of Christ that sets Christ apart as uniquely reliable and trustworthy, he's the best option to put your faith in.
You have 7 minutes.
All right, so I thought it was a ridiculous idea that thousands and thousands of Muslims were becoming Christians in Africa. I thought it was absurd. I thought, no way. You're not seeing Jesus come in dreams and all of a sudden you meet him and you become a Christian. Then I had a friend who went down to different Muslim areas, Nigeria, for example, in Africa, and he said there were endless amounts of Muslims becoming Christians by meeting Jesus, all of them in similar ways, in a white robe in dreams. I still thought, hey, buddy, I don't know. I mean, that's wild, but I'm not sure. Now they are sending think tanks from the West, some from Chicago as of late. Check out Lee Strobel talks about them, to Africa, into these different parts. And honestly, it is showing that thousands of Muslims are becoming Christians because they're meeting Christ in dreams.
So, has anybody ever heard of anybody seeing Allah in a dream?
Never.
I've never heard of that.
Wait. Muhammad did. He was beardless and had curly hair.
He's the only one, which is kind of weird, right? Because you would think
you
if it's
set
just
me up for that one.
if you think it's just like a natural phenomenon that people are just having random dreams of stuff that they think about, is nobody thinking about Allah? Because I mean, I think that's weird, to be honest with you.
It is so hard to convince a Muslim to become a Christian through what we are doing right now, because the level of fervency, energy, intensity, and this idea that, oh, yeah, I mean, we don't have any sources for who Jesus is, but it's just a mystical experience. Or you heard Kara, for example. She said, it's just proof that the Quran is true. No, I'm sorry. There is no proof. There's next to nothing that you can prove in this life except
The
a couple
damage
different
control
mathematics.
attempt is so trash. They got baked the entire fucking debate. Stop embarrassing yourself. These guys are not knowledgeable enough to debate.
But
You can
Liviano
see
lied.
that?
He lied multiple times.
They lied on.
Donkey.
Yo, goof ass up, what?
You see, guys, what kind of bots Muslims are in 2026? Unbelievable.
Like, if you have to win a debate by lying, it should tell you that your side is wrong.
Yeah.
The thing is, guys, again, we Christians are honest. I think the Christians did a terrible job. I'm going to say that is why, because these Christians, they are not debaters, they are preachers. The way Cliff talks, he's a preacher, he's not a debater. You can hear it. Don't get me wrong, he's a great preacher, but he's not a debater. So that wasn't even a debate. Yet Korah, the half-brained Korah, thinks that was the biggest debate of 2026 on X.com. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it looks like to me like they're debating, is Islam true, basically. And I don't think they're doing that bad yet. I don't think the Christians are doing that bad. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're doing fine so far.
Yeah, well, but brother, scary. You know, we are Christians. We're not going to lie about it. Again, these people are not debaters. This is not a debate.
Yeah.
The guy is literally preaching. You heard him.
Yeah. He is definitely preaching. It's not. And meanwhile, Labiano and Cora are trying to basically play word games.
And he doesn't have the knowledge to refute their lies. That's the problem. See what Rob is hearing? He's hearing them tell a bunch of whoopla, and Cliff not being able to call him out for it, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you can hear Labiano just saying, like, whatever we want to say, and they're not even like questioning it back. Like, he just said the disciples didn't die for the faith, and they just stayed quiet, honestly.
Yeah. Now keep in mind though, they're still in their opening statements, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, they gotta go.
So I don't think they can really cross-examine yet.
Mathematical principles. If you start saying proof, the discussion ends. What we are talking about here is historical evidence.
Everybody needs to know that distinction. Muslims ask for proof. Proof is basically not a thing. Proof is like a made-up concept. You can't really have proof for anything. You can have evidence for things, stuff that makes your case more likely, but proof is what they always ask for because they know it's like an impossible standard.
Historical evidence. Now, 3 facts of freely transmitted documents, for example, because we're talking about the Quran, versus, say, the New Testament, the reliability of the Gospels, the historical facts behind it. One, the more manuscripts one has, the more variants you're going to have. And there has been free transmission across the world from the very beginning through oral testimony. And then once the actual witnesses died off, that's when the historical evidence and eyewitness testimony was written down. Secondly, if you only have one witness, you will have no textual variants.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Likewise, have little basis on which to believe.
Cliff and Stuart are more preachers. I don't really know why they're debating right now.
That's why the
They might they might not do
and
very
others,
good.
all of a sudden you started to have all these disagreements on, oh my gosh, who got Muhammad right? Oh my gosh, who got the revelation correct? And that's why people were put to death by the sword. Different caliphs at different times. For example, during the 6th and 7th centuries AD.
Oh no, why do you have to say
On the
that?
other hand, there was no possibility to say, hey, that guy has the exact holy book. Let's go get him and change it. Or he keeps, for example, the authority for hundreds of
I don't see, what is Nick ragging about here? I don't get what his issue is with what the guy's saying. I think what he's saying is absolutely true. He's saying there is no central authority figure that you can go and fix all the different manuscripts that are going around in Christianity. That's a valid statement. That's why we have variants. And that's why Islam has less variants, because they did have a central authority figure. So it makes it not impressive.
Guys, a spoiler, off topic. I just got an invite for tomorrow, 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Time, 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Time. It's going to be with Brother Jai, and if I'm not mistaken, also Brother David Wood. So we are going to have a field day with a zut. Don't tell anyone, guys. You didn't hear it from me.
Why do you guys love that so much? I don't get it.
I don't. I'm only a guest. I'm being invited, guys. I have nothing to do with it.
For another.
You know what? They shouldn't have, like, Libiano shouldn't have tried to debate me on it, and then people shouldn't, like, bring it up to me and be like, oh, you lied, you lied. If you don't want people to know about the Al-Zut, stop bringing it up, because then now we have to come and say, no, it's not a lie.
So it seems that it's going to be on the Brother David Wood's channel. So be there, guys.
I'm gonna watch just a couple more minutes of this, guys, and then we'll end this first session here for this.
Can I
for this video?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, brother.
How are you, bro? God bless, by the way. So I got a quick question. So you know how in Christianity we have councils, like Council of Ephesus, Council of Constantinople, the Council of Nicaea, you know, all of them, Vatican, etc., etc., etc. Do you reckon? Now this is I'm just taking this from someone from the comments. Do you reckon there was ever a council called the Council of Al-Zut?
Yeah, I'm the high priest of that group. My nickname is Zoba, because one of the commanders of the jinn is Zoba. So I'm going to change my name from Rob Christian to Zoba, and we're going to start an academy called the Academy of Al-Zut. So if you want your name to be on the list, send me a message.
Yeah, you know what I mean, Rob? Like, God bless, by the way, honey. God bless. So
God bless,
I was just, yeah, I just thought of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, was there a council on this? You know, like the Council of Ephesus or Council of, you know what I mean? You just wonder. Anyways, I'm trolling, guys. I'm trolling. Continue playing the video, bro. Continue.
No, nobody noticed.
Ronaldo's the guy.
Because it was uncontrolled in the sense of early testimony spread in a matter of weeks after Jesus' resurrection around the known world. That was being preached in these churches. The idea of a resurrection was still ridiculous, yet thousands upon thousands of Jews became Christians overnight, flipping the Roman Empire upside down on its head. That is inexplainable. That is all history, by the way, outside of the Bible. Don't touch the Bible. It has nothing to do with the Bible. And now you have to grapple with, fine, let's say
no violence at this point yet. Christianity is just spreading through the word and people hearing it. There's no violence. Nobody's getting pressured.
That there is no Bible. There were thousands and thousands of Christians before the Bible. This idea, for example, Tom brought up the Trinity, that all of a sudden everybody just got the Trinity wrong, or it was different between different church fathers. That doesn't matter. Eventually, the Council of Nicaea, they talked about it, and 318 bishops came to the point of saying, yes, a big part of this is we agree that Jesus is God, and there is a Trinity. So no,
That
you can
was
see
the
the
Council
wrestling
of
going
Nicaea
on
wasn't
in the
about the
Gospels
Trinity,
for
man.
sure
Come on,
about,
bro.
okay, Jesus is clearly God. We know that one.
Wait, the Council of Nicaea wasn't about the Trinity? Is that what Nick just said?
Yeah, but I don't think that's what is it Cliff? I don't think that's what he was trying to say. But he was just trying to say they've been speaking about the divinity of Christ. But I don't know.
I never heard that before, though. I've always heard that the Council of Nicaea, not that it was solely about the Trinity, but didn't it have something to do with it? I thought it did.
It was mainly about the Aryan belief, you know, this heretic belief,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
why
they were
they were
refuting the
invited
divinity of Christ.
to begin with, you know, to refute him, and they succeeded.
I'm gonna look into that a little bit.
This baptism, you have the Father's voice, you have the doves, the Holy Spirit, and then you have Jesus getting baptized. There seems to be a 3-in-1 here. What's going on? So to figure out what exactly the Trinity was in terms of the earliest documents and what Christians were talking about, you're exactly right. That took a little discussion at the Council of Nicaea. In no way does that discredit somehow the credibility of. Next, you have to wrestle with Surah 5, for example, 46 through 47. I mean, it is so clear that the Quran talks about people of the book referring to the Torah as well as the Gospels as the ones who are already saved. Not only that, it talks about.
Can we agree, though, guys, that this is my takeaway? When I used to read the Bible, Jesus didn't really leave a solid 100% complete understanding of the Father yet. Do we have differences on that? Any Christians?
Is it a question for us? I mean, you
Yeah.
could say that again. Say that again one more time. Sorry.
Yeah, so one of the last statements that I remember Jesus making right before, literally on the day he was supposed to get crucified, he was like, "Until now, I've still been speaking figuratively about the Father.
Yeah.
But there will come a time where I will no longer be speaking figuratively," implying that he would tell them later more about the Father, or somehow get them to understand later about the Father. Am I tripping on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, you see how even after he resurrected, he stayed with them. It says he stayed with them for 40 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then before before he went to the Father, so there's a lot of things he kind of revealed to them. I mean, we can see that in the scripture. Kind of, the scripture was written, even though it was after he actually went to the Father. That's when he got piled up and everything, right? So we can say
Yes.
that they knew what they were writing. Whatever they piled up is after everything was done. Is what I'm trying to say. So they had the knowledge of that.
Because it seems like to me, it's like what Stuart is saying here is that the people literally had to kind of look back at everything Jesus said and kind of piece it together on their own.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And they have the Holy Spirit too, then for them to understand the scriptures.
Exactly. And that's the other thing Jesus said. He said, "I will send you the Holy Spirit and he will guide you into all truth." So there was more things that they needed the Holy Spirit to understand later. Right?
Yeah. Correct.
Like,
yeah.
Isn't there a quote in the Bible too that says, like, "You do not understand now, but later you will understand too"? Isn't that somewhere too in there, if I remember?
Yeah. Even when he was telling them about him dying and unaliving and stuff like that, they didn't understand. They didn't understand him.
Yeah.
Later on, after that, they understood him.
Yeah. All right.
It's about them to Muhammad saying, "Hey, Muhammad, if you have any doubts about your revelation, go back previously to those in the Torah as well as those who have the gospel and check with them." Very odd. So clearly the Quran
This debate is live, guys.
that you are to be saved by obviously listening to Allah and worshiping Allah, knowing him. And yet at the same time it says, but follow your holy book, which is the gospel that you are saved by. Well, I'm sorry, even if you say it's corrupted, yet still, again, we are to follow our own gospel. And if that gospel somehow doesn't get me in or gets me in, but I reject it, well, then I'm rejecting Allah's very words. So I better truly trust my gospel, or I'm rejecting Allah.
You have 90 seconds.
Allah, for example. So I land on this Islamic dilemma that you have to deal with, but then ultimately I say Islam is wrong just because of the historical fact that Jesus died on a cross. Clearly, so many professors have stated, atheist professors have stated, that is the clearest historical fact based off of the evidence imaginable, that Jesus Christ, whoever he might be, died on a cross. Muslims deny that one to their own
Scary,
chagrin, to
hold
their
on for a
own
second.
demise.
You have 1 minute left if you want to conclude.
Yeah, even Bart Ehrman, I love to call him Imam Bart Ehrman. Even he makes fun of Islam. He makes fun of Islam and the Muslims. He even was laughing basically at Muhammad Hijab when he invited him, and not realizing that Bart Ehrman was cooking Islam during that interview with Bart Ehrman, because Bart Ehrman said it's a historical fact that Jesus died on the cross. It's a historical fact. So actually, history, even the scholars who are not even Christians like Bart Ehrman, they cannot deny that it's a historical fact that Jesus died, that he crucified on a cross. Yet 600 years later, Muslims want to come, Muhammad came to convince everybody that never happened. But he actually used, these heresies, the Apocrypha and the second treatise of the Great Seth, and what the church fathers were refuting. So this is just embarrassing, but the Muslims have to deny history, and they want to tell us that Jesus did not die. But at the same time, Allah deceived entire mankind in the process, creating Christianity and deceiving many people.
Yeah, the miracle is not that somebody can come 700 years later and say, this thing that's already really hard to believe in, you just don't have to believe it anymore. That's not impressive. What's impressive is that anybody believed it in the first place, and that it became a widespread movement, and that it took over.
Don't forget, everything seems to appear to them. It never happened. It appeared, That's what they want to convey. It appeared, and they themselves don't know. Was it Judas? Was it a Roman soldier? Who died instead? Who did Allah put instead of Isa, the Islamic Jesus, on the cross? Was it a Roman soldier? Was it Judas? Was it someone else? First, figure out who it was, then try to refute the crucifixion.
Yeah. So guys, I'm losing steam here. I'm getting tired. I want to go eat and stuff. So I'm gonna wrap it here for this first episode. If anybody wants to say any closing statements, Brad, Rob, Word, Composed.
Well, before I drop down again, brother, thank you for having me. God bless you. May the Lord keep all of you safe, everyone on the panel, chat. But the thing is, as you notice, guys, the Muslims, they are running from the actual debaters. And, the Muslims think that this is a victory, take it, call it whatever you want to call it. I don't care. They are not, this is not a debate. They are not debating debaters. These brothers, right, on the left, they are not debaters, they are preachers. So it's not even a debate. So if you want to call it a debate, call it a debate, but it's not. So it's not a victory in shape or form.
I agree. And God bless you guys, and it was fun.
God bless you, sister. Yeah, I
just
think.
wanted to say.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I mean,
I just wanted to say that basically, at first, it might look like they're winning because they're making these blatant lies so confidently. But like me and Scary said earlier in the live, the truth prevails. So if later it can be reconciled, they're the losers at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at this level, Cora, Libiano, they shouldn't be having debates with anybody except for like Sam, people like Rob, people like God Logic, people like David. Anybody else, they know themselves that they're just taking advantage of the situation in a sense, I would say. But,
yeah, and by the way, tomorrow, Muslims who are yapping in the chat, and tell your little sister, Dina Response, and his bigger sister, Orthodox Duck Lips, to come and debate me tomorrow, 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Time, on Brother David Wood's channel, because we're going to talk about a Zut. Bring your imams. Tell your imams to stop hiding, because Rob Christian will destroy your prophet one more time tomorrow.
So we're gonna put the issue
Deal
of
with it.
Al-Zut's going. We're gonna put that issue to bed tomorrow. Is what we're saying. We're gonna irrefutable evidence tomorrow, guys. Al-Zut, David Wood's channel. David Wood's channel, Rob.
Yeah, it's going to happen on Brother David's which channel? Everybody knows the channel. So 5 p.m. EST. Bring your best Muslims, because we're going to talk about the Zut. He's going to be down again, and he's going to be Zuted one more time after 1400 years.
God bless you guys. Have a good day.
God bless you guys.
God
Thank you
bless
for having us,
brother.
brother.
God bless you, brother. God bless you, Rob. God bless you, Composed.
God bless.
So, guys, we got to watch a little bit. I hope you guys didn't mind that I paused it a lot of times. It's just that a lot of claims were being made in the first 10 minutes, so I really thought it was important to address them. I'm assuming that the rest of it is just going to be everybody expounding on their opening statements. So we pretty much got to see most of the opening statements, and then we'll do, hopefully, if the energy is still there, we'll do the rest of the debate on another episode, maybe tomorrow, maybe on future days. But yeah, so I don't know. Again, to me, the reason what interests me in watching this specific debate is because a lot of people were saying that what's his name? Cliff and Stuart didn't do so hot, but so far I think they're doing just fine. We'll see what happens on the rest of it. But anyway, we'll wrap it there, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching, everybody on TikTok. And everybody on YouTube as well. So if you guys aren't following, I got the accounts are right here. It's podcast, Scary Ass Podcast on YouTube, Scary Ass Podcast Live on TikTok. We'll see you guys in the next one. I did want to answer Jason. Jason, does the ex-Muslim with an accent have a channel? Yes, that's Rob Christian. He's not a ex-Muslim. Wait, are you talking about Rob, Jason, or are you talking about Alex? I don't know if Alex has a channel, to be honest with you. I know Rob does. Rob Christian is Rob Christian. He definitely has a channel. You can look him up. He has a lot of good information, a lot of good resources. If you're talking about Alex, I don't know if he has a channel, to be honest with you. Does Rob have a channel? Yes, he does. He does. Here, I'll show it to you. 1 second. Rob's channel is literally Rob Christian. So it looks like this. Looks like that. I'll try to tag him on this video once it's done uploading, if you want. Yes, he does have a channel. So I would definitely highly recommend watching Rob. He's one of the OGs when it comes to talking about Islam. He knows all the sources. He has all the sources that you could ever find, whether they be sources that you can find on sunnah.com, but he also has like the actual books that even the ones that are not translated into English, he shows all that all the time. So I would definitely give him a follow. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it there. I appreciate you guys for watching.